And we're live. Okay, what the fuck is going on? It is I, Levitate, and we're doing another episode of De.Compression. This week, month, whatever episode. I have two young fucking prodigies, NFT gods out here. We have Fewocious and Parrott. Parrottism on socials. These guys just had a nifty drop that literally broke records. They are defining the NFT world. It's fucking crazy. And Parrott is a long-term friend of mine, and Fewocious is a new friend of mine. And so we're going to talk about random shit. And yeah, I hope you guys enjoy. So without further ado, let's get into it. And let's go.
Yo, yo.
Hello, I'm going to take this off.
Connor, my man.
Hi, Connor.
Nice to see you, Connor.
Yes.
I don't know what to say.
For those of you who don't know, yeah, I think everything's good. We're recording. All right, yeah. For those of you who don't know, because why would you? We just went to dinner and had literally the best meal I've had all year.
It's really good, man. It feels good to, even though we were sitting outside, technically, undercover, it feels good to dine somewhere besides my house.
Yeah, dude. I feel that 1,000,000%. Yeah, I think I keep on telling Andy about it, and I was telling you the other night, dude, it's like fucking Groundhog Day, honestly. I think I had about 8 months in me, where I was like, no, this is fine. I work from home. I don't care. You know what I mean? And then after it was month 10, month 11, I was like, dude, I'm starting to go a little bit nuts. That's
a little cabin fever.
Little cabin fever. Yeah. That's when it really hit me. And I was like, dude, I don't know. It started. Yeah. It's definitely affecting me,
Yeah.
For sure. Yeah. I'm pretty good at I'm pretty introverted.
Yeah.
Not around friends, but just in public and stuff. I stick to myself most of the time or with close friends. And I've still been kicking it with close friends throughout this more carefully. But
yeah.
I don't have any of that go to a festival and see people I only see a few times a year.
Yeah.
Which I like. And that's usually the dose of socialization I need. Festivals, club nights here and there. That's seeing all those faces and stuff. That usually does it for me. Yeah. So I thought going into this, I was gonna be totally fine. And I was for a little bit, but
yeah.
I missed that.
Yeah. How have you felt?
I mean, it's weird because I was I can just bury myself into art.
Yeah.
And then I kind of realized my art was lacking because I took inspiration from seeing people, even if I was at the store and watching people being weird.
Yeah.
But I didn't have that anymore. So I was like, dang.
Yeah.
All my art is about people.
By the way, so because you know what you're looking at, if something looks off there, if the mic starts to cut or anything like that, tell me because it's obviously behind me.
Looks good to me.
Fire. But yeah, I feel I can see in your art people watching. Mm-hmm. I can see in your stuff it's almost a take on humans, this is a personality because there's so many faces, there's so many identities in your stuff. I feel that it looks like the internal monologue of someone people watching.
Yeah.
I can see that too. I almost get a caricature vibe from some of your work.
Oh yeah.
Where it's you see someone's you'd be that person has weird ears, and then those ears end up in your art somehow.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're telling me for the beauty piece you read it, what was it you read about Marilyn Monroe's hair products for a day?
Yeah, I was what products in her hair, how does it stay like that? Or is it real? I don't know.
Yeah.
I like stuff like that because it just, with jewelry, the way things shine, it's well, that's how you know it's real or that it's that. I'm I want that in my art.
I love that. I love that. Yeah.
We do something similar in 3D. Some of my favorite stuff to do for creating realistic materials is finding the reflection and refraction charts of how does certain kinds of glass refract light. And there's a number for that, and you can just plug that number in and be wow, that's photorealistic.
Some of them I had them memorized for a while, a few of the important ones. I think plastic was 1 point, the IOR was 1.5 or something like that. Because I nerded out about that exact thing for a while where I was okay, cool, glass is what the fuck was it? It was 1.8 1.37 or something like that. Like I remember at the time I remembered like the exact ones. Yeah. With Corona, you remember with Corona, everything had an IOR. Like if I remember right, with Corona render.
Oh, I thought you were talking about the virus, bro.
Yeah, I was sitting here like, whoa.
Like, viruses have, I guess so. Indexes of refraction. Yeah, okay. Yeah. I honestly don't remember Corona render that much. I used it for probably 4 months.
That's it. Okay. For the listeners, like, Nathaniel put me on to everything. I mean, maybe besides Unreal Engine, but everything else like
you
that.
You did Octane before me though.
I got okay, yeah, but that's like the internet. You know what I mean?
Does Octane, yeah.
But all the fun shit, like a lot of the really good shit, like you put me onto Corona, you put me onto Arnold Render, you put me onto like a lot of shit. You put me onto NFTs, you put me onto.
True.
Yeah, man. Yeah. Also, I want the listeners to know if you're watching this, knowing of Nathaniel from his work as an NFT artist. He's a longtime musician and he's really fucking talented.
Thanks, bro.
Really fucking talented. Yes.
Yeah. Up until a few years ago, music was my shit. My only shit.
Yeah.
That I would do. I've been making beats for 13 years now.
He's 25. You would be 12 when you started?
Yeah. Actually, I might have started when I was 11, but like my birthday's right around this time. So I don't know. It was like 5th grade. I started making beats.
That's so wild. I was 16 and I was like, I shit you not, like I had the most toxic mentality when I was 16. I was like, dude, excuse my language. I was like, dude, I'm gonna get so much pussy. That was exactly where my brain went. Like just such a piece of shit. I was like, dude, I'm gonna get so much ass from this. And like, of course, my music was trash, and I think it did the exact opposite because I was like rapping, like it was so bad. Oh my
god.
Yeah,
dude, that's why I started making beats too. I heard music on the radio, and I was like, I want to be a rapper. But I'm like white and live in like a pretty like small like island town. Like there's not much story to rap about here.
Were you Bainbridge Island?
No, Vashon.
Yeah. Oh, that's like isn't that like the hippie island? That's like, yeah. That's
known for like good weed and hippies.
I have I have multiple friends who did acid on Vashon Island. Yeah. That's fucking great. So, Victor.
Yes.
Break it down for me. You come from Vegas. Then what happened?
Like not here. We're not in Seattle.
Yeah, right. So for the listeners, because I think like I've been following you on Twitter for a minute, and I popped in. I think I saw you in Super Rare a while ago, but the time when I started like following you, I was like, this is a really eccentric kid, and I'm fascinated. But like I don't personally I didn't know that much about you prior to meeting you, you know? So I think like if anyone else is in the same shoes that I was, like I kind of want to know, you've already told me personally, but like you grew up in Vegas, right?
Right.
Okay. So then art started. Tell me from there. In regards of like what has happened with the NFT stuff and where you're at now. And so like brief life story. That's what I mean. With art.
I would make paintings. I put them up on my website, and they sold. And a collector who bought one of my paintings emailed me, said, "Oh boy, I love your paintings. I have them in my house. When you ship me the paintings, you put a certificate of authenticity. Super cool. I care about authenticity as well. Let me tell you what a non-fungible token is." And introduced me to the space, told me to go apply to Super Rare because he wanted more of my work, but in NFT format. And I said, it won't hurt me to try.
Yeah.
And so I checked it out. I applied, and it's crazy because back then applying really fast. Now
we all got in.
I got in.
Yeah. But now like the space is blown up. When you apply, months to wait.
Or you don't hear back at all.
Yeah. And I don't know, that's how that started.
Beautiful.
I just want to point out how cool it is that Victor would send out certificates of authenticity with his original paintings.
It's like you were on that shit. Like you were on the premise of it before you even knew what an NFT was.
In my brain,
never think about that.
It was like fake it till you make it.
Hell yeah.
Yeah, I was like, I want someone to think, like I bought a nice printer and all this stuff, and I was like, I want someone to get one of my paintings and not know I'm this kid in my bedroom. Like, I want them to think I have a whole company behind me.
I love that.
But it was just me.
Yeah. That is like... Okay, always got to double check that. But that is like the coolest thing. And I was telling you the other night, like I just found, because I found your website after I deep dove on you. Like I've for the listeners, I've already gone on this whole rant with Victor, but I found your website because I deep dove on you. And then like I saw that you'd been doing it before the NFT stuff. And I'm like, this kid is literally like just being a fucking artist. Like, whereas like a lot of people in the space exist on the internet. Like I guess this is even like especially speaking for myself. I just like exist on the internet as a digital artist. Like that's just what I do. The concept of like, I'm actually like going to start my own art business was like so abstract to me. But like ambitious young you like made a website and just did that, like sent it, which is like honestly just so fascinating.
Thank you.
And that's part of the reason that like it's not like, it's almost not surprising that you're in the situation that you are now. Cause it's like, dude, when I was like 16, 17, like whenever you started that, like the fuck was I was like skating every day. I wasn't doing shit like that. You know what I mean? It's cool. It's cool as fuck to see for sure.
Man, thank you so much.
Everyone go to Fewocious's website.
Oh my God.
Actually, I was gonna sneak one by you. I totally forgot to do this. I was gonna sneak one by you and buy merch before we went to dinner. But I got caught up in that.
Oh my God. You know what happened?
What happened?
Okay. So on my website, I made the homepage like saying like Fewocious is busy, all that stuff.
Yeah.
I didn't realize I didn't deactivate the rest of like the shirts, the prints.
Oh no.
And when the Nifty drop happened, my store sold so many prints and I got so many emails and I was like, what happened? And a collector posted the shoes they bought from me.
Yeah.
And put the link to the shoes. And so it linked, you could click on the rest of the website and everything was still active. And so my emails were just bing, 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 all these sales.
Oh no.
And I'm like, I have to go through individually and click refund.
Oh
refund.
no. Oh my goodness. That's what you said, something about that in the car. You're like, oh, speaking of selling out. And
I didn't even know that happened.
Oh, Jesus.
I just know that Fewo merch sells out like that because I was like, Fewo, I want a Fewo hat. Or like, I want a shirt, which I do. I think I'm rocking one right now, but the super rare one.
Oh, look at you. Yeah. That shit's hard. I should have gotten a few of these. They're like $100. One of there's 100 editions.
There's people on Rarible like selling. I don't even know what they're doing.
Yeah, I bet
that shit'll hit grailed. You'll get like get like a grailed resale on that stuff.
That was what the Artifact Studios were like. If this gets on StockX, like that's how we know.
No, it will though. Actually, yeah. There's no doubt in my mind. Like if it's not already on grailed or StockX.
That's why I bought 2 pairs of shoes because I want to rock one and enjoy it and like, you know, take it out for like fancy dinners or something and just be people like, what are you wearing? That's sick. And I'll be like, Fewocious shoes. And then I want to keep one just in mint condition that like I can put it in like a glass case or something like people will do it or like on the wall.
Yeah.
Like, I see people do the sneakers. I've never been a sneaker dude, but I just see that in like the background on people's videos.
Yeah.
I feel like that's a good place to keep Fewocious shoes.
Dude, get the levitating thing.
I don't know what that is.
Dog. Oh, it's some like Instagram ad spam bullshit, but it's so sick. It's so sick. Someone built this magnetic thing that like, it's like, so it's like an electromagnet, but you put the other magnet inside the shoe and it floats in midair.
Oh,
okay.
Yeah, it's like literally levitating. Yeah. That's what you got to do. That shit would be so hard.
That's really cool.
Yeah. Some collectibles I've always wanted to make because like personally, I collect skateboard decks. I don't have them hanging because I need to like make a fucking like shelf or whatever in my room. But I have like, what is it, like probably 8 like pretty like not even rare, but just skateboard decks that I really like. There's only 2 of them that I have that are rare, but like the other ones I just really like them, you know? Like do you know the artist Jesse Draxler? He does stuff that looks like that, but like, yeah, like
that's beautiful, by the way.
Thank you. The print is really up-res though. The camera can't see it, but anyone that's here can see that there's pixels in there.
I like it though. Like if you didn't say that, it's like that's part of
it looks intentional.
Yeah.
Thanks.
So like,
thanks.
Don't trip.
Yeah.
But yeah, so I've always wanted to do a skateboard drop. Like that would be my thing is like if I could and I could fund it and make it like do well. Yeah, I always wanted to do a drop of skateboard decks that I designed and then like do like prints on them and they would be like limited edition. That would be the coolest fucking thing to me.
Yeah. Dude, I had some cool skateboard merch, not merch, but like Mikey Thompson signed my wallet.
Fire.
When I was in like 7th grade.
Mikey Taylor or Thompson?
It was Mikey Taylor. Yeah. It's been a while.
Yes.
Sorry, bud. And but I just like brought that shit to school every day as my wallet, and eventually his signature just wore off of it. And then like one time I was skating at a competition at Skate Barn. You ever go to Skate Barn?
Andy used to a lot.
Yeah,
because I
skate park, bro.
I didn't live in Washington at that time.
Yeah,
so.
then it closed. I don't know, 10 years ago or something. Yeah. And I was doing a skate comp there, and I broke my wrist doing this jump real bad. And then I was in shock, so it didn't hurt. I just like saw my wrist and it was fucked up.
Yeah.
And so I can try to finish my run. And
no way.
Yeah.
With a oh wow.
And then they were like, try the jump again, and I was like, nah. And they're like, oh yeah. And then I started like feeling the pain and being like, oh, this really hurts. And so I got picked up by my friend's mom. But in that time, like the pro skaters that were there running the competition were like, respect. Here's a signed deck from us. And then I forget who it was. I think it was maybe a birdhouse board or something like that. Nice. And I just skated it after that, and I was just like, fucked up deck, dude. I had like no respect for collections back then.
That's what I was talking with Taylor about that same thing, because what did he get? Taylor is, like I was telling you, he's the owner of Alpha Motif. Yep. We're also going to do a podcast pretty soon here. But what was it? So he got a skate deck that was like rare or something like that. I don't remember why it was rare, but he got like a pretty rare one like recently, and I was like, dude, you should hang that shit up. And he's like, he skates like hard. Like he is still to this day. He's like 28 years old, going the fuck in, like in really good.
Respect.
Yeah. And so, but he's like, dude, I can't collect skateboards. Like it's impossible. Cause he's like, I look at it and I'm like, I'm gonna skate that. Like that's what's gonna happen.
Yeah.
And I mean, he probably breaks one like once a month, you know, like if not even. But yeah, so he's just like all that. They're all disposable to me. Like I'm just gonna go run through those things. Yeah. But for me, I don't skate hard anymore.
Me either.
So I'm just like I got the first two. Like this is why I say they're rare. The two decks I have that are rare are the first two and maybe only Alpha Motif decks. Nice. And they would be like first edition because like they're direct from Taylor. So as his company's like pretty big at the moment, but when it gets like big, then it's like that's fucking some shit.
That's super tight.
Very proud of those ones.
Yeah, I could probably collect skateboard decks now. I probably skate a few times a year now in the summer when it's nice out. I'll go to the park for a day.
You still got tray flips, right?
I don't know. Don't put me on the spot like that, bro. This has been a minute. Yeah. Probably. I could probably bust out a tray flip. Not first try.
Yeah.
But like if I get warmed up or something, yeah, maybe.
Yeah.
Fakey varial flips though, probably still got those on lock.
Tight.
Yeah, but I don't know. A few years back, bro, I was trying to do like this handrail style thing at a skate park and like board slide it. And board went out from under me, and I tried catching myself on my feet and like probably broke my foot.
Oh my god.
And I just like walked it off for a few weeks. But like after that, I was like, it took so long to recover compared to when I was a kid, and I just thrashed myself so hard. And I was like, it's not worth it to like do like a handrail like anymore.
I ran into that snowboarding, man.
Or like just 7 staircases or something. Like no need to throw my body down a fucking 9-foot drop like that. Like,
oh yeah, no.
What's the point of that? I'll just do a tray flip.
Straight up. Last time I went snowboarding, and I was actually like riding, because the last time I like fell really early. But I was riding. I did a back 3 on a jump. I did a 3 over this like normal size park jump. And I was like, that was genuinely fucking terrifying. I'm like 27 years old. I'm like, that was scary as hell.
Wait, bro, I could have died.
Yeah, like I was like, dude, if I get hurt, like I can't go to work, like I can't work on shit. Like I'm gonna be hurt, you know? Did you ever get into like skateboarding or like riding boards or anything like that?
No, but one time I thought if I took a Walmart bag and held it over my head and I jumped off the stairs, it would be a parachute. Wasn't. I sprained my ankle.
Nice.
And that's the only injury I've ever had.
The only injury you've ever had. I'm afraid,
like, skateboard, like, even anything, I'm always like, I don't want, my biggest fear is breaking my wrists. I saw Doctor Strange, and seeing that in his hands, that's my biggest fear. That's absolutely my biggest fear. Like, one time I rolled in my bed wrong, and I was like, oh no.
Oh, that's beautiful.
I can tell you breaking your wrist fucking sucks.
Yeah, it's a weird feeling. It's a weird feeling.
Not a good feeling.
I broke one of these wrists. I don't really remember which one. I'm assuming it was my right because it would make more. That's like my dominant wrist, so I think it was my right. Yeah, it's a weird feeling. It feels hot. Like it's weird. It's like as if someone held like a hot knife inside of your arm.
It's not good.
It's a weird sensation.
You have to have a cast. I hated casts.
They gave me a brace because it was like it was simple. I
broke my growth. So like when there's this growth plate at the end of your arm right here, and it broke and slid out, and it wasn't out of the skin, but it was like pushing on the skin.
No.
And I had to go to the ER, and one doctor, they like numbed the hell out of my arm, so I couldn't feel anything. One doctor pulling as hard as he could like this. Other doctor pulling on my shoulder the opposite direction. Third doctor with his thumbs pushing it back into place. And I had to have a cast for like 6 weeks after that. And I don't know if you can hear this, but
they can hear that. They can hear that.
Every time, bro.
Yeah. Oh, wait. Actually, I was telling y'all about my sternum the other night. I bet. Are we good?
Yeah.
Solid. All right. Yeah, I was telling y'all about my sternum the other night. I bet I got one in me right now.
Oh my god.
No.
I heard like the smallest.
That's like, dude, this morning it was fucked. Like that, it was so ironic because I was
sample and make a snare drum.
Honestly, it would snap. It was super fucked because I remember I was like telling you guys last night, and so when I woke up, I was like, oh, I bet I got a good one, and it's just like the most like it's always like the gnarliest, just like full blown like pop. But yeah,
snare drum, bro. I'm telling you,
it feels really good actually.
Oh my god.
Yeah, it's
sweet
weird.
release.
Yeah. But yeah, so besides art, I want to know about you, Victor, because you're surprisingly like as open as you are on the internet. I think it's like something about that leaves a lot of questions asked. Like I was like, I don't know this guy. Like you're so open, but I don't know. I can't explain it. There's a lot of questions that are unanswered.
Ask away.
So besides art, like hobbies, what are you into? You're telling me earlier that you like Mac Miller.
Yes, I do.
Mac Miller and jazz in general. Yeah. Hell yeah.
But I don't know if that's a hobby, right?
I mean, music interest, I suppose.
Oh.
But hobbies besides art, what do you got?
I'll be honest with you. It's really bad. It's probably unhealthy. I don't do anything. Like, all I do is art. Like, I can't even play video games because I'm like, how dare you? Like, I'm like, go make art. But also, like, I was playing Breath of the Wild on my Switch.
Yeah.
And it was so beautiful. I'm like, this looks like a painting. Yeah. And I was appreciating the art, but also anytime I have fun, I'm like, stop.
Dude.
I feel that.
Yeah, there's something to that. I think it seems unhealthy, but it's like, I think it's healthy though. Like it honestly, like it's unhealthy in a sense of like, there's kind of this stigma I think everyone has where it's like, you got to take some time for yourself and enjoy life. The way that I look at it is I'm like, I'll do that when I'm like, art is more enjoyable to me personally. Like being satisfied with art is more enjoyable to me than like going on a vacation. Cause I'm like, that's fulfilling, you know? So I don't know, man. I don't think motivation like beyond, the fun stuff is like unhealthy per se, but definitely you got to decompress every now and then.
Yeah. Like fun. Like everything fun to me like has to do with art. Like even when Nathaniel said, do you want to come to LA with me and like do this podcast and just hang out?
Yeah.
I was like,
oh, they came here, by the way. They flew from fucking Seattle to it's fucking awesome.
Yeah. And for a second, I was like, I don't know because I have all this art stuff I need to do. But I was like, but if I go, I can use that as inspiration for my art. Like, yes, it'll be really fun, but the fun will translate to my art.
Yeah.
And like, that's how I think of everything. I'm like, will this somehow translate to art?
Yes. Yep.
Like with movies, I'll be halfway through a movie and I'm like, I should go work on this piece. Why am I? But I have to force myself to like sit there and be like, okay, watch how it ends, how they end the story, so that you can put that in your art.
Yes, I get like the vast majority of my inspiration from like movies, honestly, or small film, like short films.
Movies are like the one thing that, or like really good TV shows are like the one thing that like I don't really play video games either because I feel guilty about it. Where I'm like, I just spent 3 hours and there's no. It's like instant gratification while you're doing it, but afterwards there's no gratification. Versus art, where the instant gratification is still there during the process. Yeah. It's almost like working out or something where it like you just go through the motions, do this thing, and afterwards for the whole day you just feel calm and fulfilled.
Yes.
And video games don't do that for me. Movies though are like one thing where like I can watch them and I can like listen to the music and be inspired by the music and how it plays with your emotions. And I can watch the cinematography and the depending on what kind of movie it is, the special effects and the CGI. And all that kind of stuff, and I can like find ways to relate it back to my art or my music, and I can find a way to where like there is some kind of satisfaction at the end of it.
Yeah, I think a lot of it has to do, especially like your kind of art, because it is inherently like cinematic, you know, and it's not. How do I put it? With your stuff, it's either the story is entirely left up to the viewer. Yeah. Or it's so specific that this is just one moment in time, which I like about, like, if, for instance, the crystal pieces, like the portraits of like figures per se, that's just one moment in time. And then your landscape stuff, your large scale stuff is like, this can be anything. You know what I mean? And I think like in order to get that kind of like perspective for expression, you gotta think of you need inspiration from other stories and bigger pictures and like, you know, tales and like crazy shit like that. And I think like for me, that's where I see in your stuff, I'm like, oh yeah, he's got to be pulling from movies. Like you got to be watching movies and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. There's never really anything specific for movies and stuff. Like a lot of pieces I've been doing lately, people have been like, this reminds me of the movie Annihilation.
Oh yeah.
Great movie. I've seen that movie. But when I'm making those pieces, I'm not thinking of Annihilation.
Yeah.
And then, but I could now like looking back, or like the Glowy Deer series I did. People were like, this reminds me of Harry Potter, like the Patronus. And I was like, oh yeah, I can totally see that. But like maybe that's where it came from, but I don't know.
Dude, I know exactly what you're saying. So yeah, dude, with my stuff, I always just chalk it up to being way too deep to pull out in the moment. I'm like, I know this came from something. Like I know it is like one specific thing, whether it be like from when I was 9 years old and my like sister was watching an anime in the next room or some shit like that. Yeah. Just some
conscious though.
Yeah, something landed in there, and I'm like, something's giving me those stories. But I think art as a whole, I don't think anyone like really like shits out art from thin air. You know, I think it all comes from somewhere. Yeah. Like, yeah,
definitely.
Who I think what was it? Angel might have been talking about this in the last podcast, but David Bowie said something along the lines of like how he's a chameleon. He like looks at it like he's more of a chameleon, and he's kind of like taking from everything around him and just shifting into that position and like taking that identity for a moment and channeling that. And I think like even like with abstract stuff like that, you're probably pulling from like 5 million different things, but they're just getting put in a blender and like,
I mean, absolutely. Weirdly, I feel like science. Like I love to listen to science podcasts.
Yeah.
And I listened to this one science podcast where it was like someone studying, I don't know, your brain and how you recognize faces.
Yeah.
And there's only so much you can do to a face before you can't recognize it anymore.
Yeah.
And talking about all their studies. And so like, I feel like my art, I'm like, how much can I mess with this?
Yeah.
Where you like it.
Yeah, yeah.
And it can be crazy, but also it feels familiar in a weird way.
Oh yeah, like the faces are still in there. And it's still, you still relate to like maybe a person you've seen or a character you've seen, and it does make you feel like, weirdly enough, I get like a Ren and Stimpy feel out of your stuff.
Yes.
Like as random as that is, like I don't know why, but like it's the structure of the faces, I think. Yeah. Like it reminds me of that era of cartoons where it was very like like dirty caricature, you know?
Yeah.
But at the same time, you have insane colors in it. Whereas like that is very unlike Ren and Stimpy, where it's like now we're in like psychedelic, but not quite psychedelic, more like zany, which I love. But yeah, I definitely get that because it does make you feel a type of way. And I also, with your stuff, I think that's like what's definitely prominent about it is it because it's abstract and it's very like unapologetic in a sense. You just, that feeling, you're right there. You know what I mean? However you feel about it, it's like, I know exactly how I feel about this piece, like from the jump. Whereas like with your stuff, there's like I was saying, like there's a story that you can make up. You know what I mean? You make shit that I feel like you could look at for like 15 minutes and be like, and start noticing nuances in the trees and be like, oh, like this seemed like it was gloomy at first, but now it's like very pretty. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Yeah, dude. I can't wait until you get into like longer format stuff though.
Yeah. I'd love to make a movie someday, man.
Yeah, dude.
I'd love to like I don't know what the story is yet. And that's why I think, like you said, like some of it's so left up to the viewer. Most of the time I'm just trying to convey an emotion. You know, or like a sense of wonder or some sense of like nostalgia or some like weird contrasting thing. Yeah. But I know there's a story in there somewhere that I can tie together and like make into like, I'd love to do like a video game.
Same.
Or like a movie. I think what I love about movies is it's a combination of like three forms of storytelling. There's like the narrative, the words themselves, almost like a book. Yeah. And then there's the music, which sets the mood. And then there's the visual components of it.
I think music gets slept on the most with movies.
For sure. Not by me, but
right.
Everyone else. Yeah. I swear.
I don't think people understand music.
Yeah, I don't think a lot of people understand like
if you played a movie without sound, like music, it would not be the same at all.
It would also be the most awkward thing ever. Like even if the cinematography is beautiful and the dialogue.
Be like, no.
Yeah. The music.
Yeah, that's it.
Music like sets the pacing. It sets the mood. It sets suspense. Like it tells you what just happened and what's coming next and what's currently going on and like what it like subconsciously tells you what to expect and like lulls you into the story.
Heavily. It's like it's not like it's holding your hand through it, but it doesn't. The piece isn't really like complete without that. I never noticed that until I started like making like filming shit and trying to put something together. And then I realized like after like I'd done a few like composite projects and that kind of stuff. It was weird. It's like even short story stuff feels like a music video. You know what I mean? Like it, even when I'm like making it, I'm like, well, this has to kind of still be a music video in the weirdest way, because without that tone being set by the music, I mean, shit, not even just film stuff, like even with renders and shit, it's like if I just played a render with like Foley sounds, like if it was just like some scene from like the Legacy thing with like Foley sounds, it would just be so uncomfortable, you know? It would just be like, oh, I'm looking at some like cyborg shit. Okay. Yeah, I think that's like extremely encompassing of movies. Speaking of which, Tales from the fucking Loop, man. Dude,
we were like basically crying at each other in Facebook DMs about that show.
Dude, like that was fucking beautiful, man. How was it? I think we both simultaneously found it at the same time. Yeah. Or did you send it to me?
I think we both found it.
Okay, yeah.
Yeah, but I don't remember.
Because I've been obsessed with Simon Stalenhag stuff for a minute.
Dude, side note, I saw him like really hating on NFTs on Twitter the other week, and it broke my heart so much, man.
That's not what I want, man. Really?
Sorry to bum me out like that. He called it a pyramid scheme, and I was like,
oh, dude.
Oh no, you're breaking hearts.
I know.
Breaking hearts right now.
It's okay, man. His art's fucking beautiful, and it doesn't matter. And I'm sure he's a wonderful person too. It's just,
I hope so.
There's a lot of misinformation and wild stuff out there about NFTs.
Well, tell us about it.
About NFTs, yes. About how it's not a pyramid scheme. I think why people think it's a pyramid scheme is one.
Well, even regardless, it's not.
It's not.
But I mean, I want to know. Tell me your thoughts, overbearing thoughts that more people should know about NFTs.
All right. Well.
Also, can I hit that thing?
Yeah, sure.
Thank you, brother.
So, I mean, I was doing NFTs Few was doing NFTs before me. I was doing NFTs and I stuck with it. My first sale doing NFTs was in June of this last year, before anyone really knew about it. And I read up about it, and it was like art on the blockchain. I said, that sounds pretty cool, just like theoretically speaking, because I've always been interested in blockchain technology. I found out about Bitcoin in like 2011, 2012.
Yep.
With like the Silk Road and all that stuff. And I just like weird parts of society like that pique my interest, man. It's like such a so different from the norm, where it just like sucks me in. Yeah. And I never bought any Bitcoin, but I just like paid attention to it. And I said, this is really cool. I was like, I never thought that like money could be different. It was just one of those things that's been ingrained in society where like money is money is money. And
sidebar, sorry to cut you off, but did you see that video of the guy buying a pizza with what would be $500 million worth of Bitcoin now? That was the craziest video that tripped me out. Anyway.
Yeah. So, I've always been interested in cryptocurrencies and blockchains because it's like it changes the narrative of society in a sense, where like money is this thing and it causes problems and it makes the world go around, or like what the fuck ever.
Yeah.
And the fact that like someone could invent a different kind of money and people could use a different kind of money on the internet, I was like, that's just wild, bro. That sounds like the future. Yeah. And so from a young age, probably like 14 years old when I heard about it, I was like, this is gonna like be the standard in like 20, 30, 40, 50 years, some Blade Runner shit or whatever. Yeah. And I was just like, of course, this makes sense. This makes sense. This is where society's moving. I bought like $100 worth of Bitcoin in 2017 or 2018. Like, but it's like, I've tried trading stocks before too. And it's just my brain. If I'm not fully passionate about something, I just can't stick with it.
Same. Yeah.
Like art and music. I'd rather do that every day and be broke and like whatever, because that's the only thing I fucking care about at the end of the day. Yeah. And so cryptocurrencies, as much as it interested me, it was not something that I could be like, ooh, I'm going to trade this for this and hold this Bitcoin, and just like the whole thing, just it wasn't quite there for me. Yeah. When I found out about NFTs, I was like, okay, that bridges the gap now, because it takes something that it's one of the only things I care about, and now there's this extra layer of shit that I find interesting about it. Yes. So that's, when I discovered it, I was like, it piqued my interest enough to dive in further. And I said June, that's when I applied for Super Rare. I probably didn't get my first sale for a few weeks after that, and it was for $30. Yeah. And I said, sick, I'm going to buy dinner tonight with that. Like, nice. Yeah. Like, this is art I'm already making. The fact that I can buy dinner from this, super sick. And so the more I looked into it though, and saw like the potential of what you can do with it, my favorite thing about NFTs is like, sure, authenticity is tight. Proof of ownership is cool. The fact you can own something digital, I get that. That's super tight. Yeah. And I think it's going to have a lot of changes, or I don't know if changes, but it's going to affect the way we look at ownership at a mass scale. That's
the biggest thing for me. Yeah.
And that's cool. I love that. And that's one of the reasons I'm really bullish on NFTs. But the coolest part about it for me was that NFTs themselves, the blockchain, can be a medium. Mm-hmm. So these things like these websites like Async, where it's like programmable art and it's using the blockchain to change layer states, and the owner of a layer can change what the artwork looks like.
That's sick. I didn't even know about that.
Yeah, I got a project coming out, I think, in a week or two on Async. Dude. And I don't know when this podcast comes out.
It'll probably be out after that.
Okay, cool. So I'll just dive into it.
It's because this is stocked. I think because I'm doing Omar's right after yours too, so that'll be like 5 in the chamber or something like that. Cool,
perfect, man. I'll just spill the beans then. So it's probably out now. Hope it did well, guys.
Right.
Woo! Congratulations!
Congrats! Yeah.
So I've been working on it since like September with my homie Kron. And wow. So he does GANs. It's like the AI artificial neural networks.
Oh, dude, I remember you like tweeting about this actually. Yeah, dude.
It's been in the works for a while. And so AI, another thing like cryptocurrency, where it's piqued my interest. I watch YouTube videos about AI all day long, but I'm not going to sit down and learn how to code AI because I don't know how to code. And there's like, I'd rather do art. Yeah. But it interests me, man. So I started talking with this dude, Kron, in September. And he was like, I love your art. And I was like, cool, what do you do? And he was like, I do like neural networks and stuff. He was like, I didn't know how to do this a year ago. When Corona hit, me and my buddies said, let's spend all of this time learning how to code neural networks. He already knows how to code anything else besides neural networks. And I was like, I fucking love that, dude.
Yeah.
I was like, that's the kind of like ambition and drive I love in people.
Yeah.
And so we just started talking, and he was like, here, dude, send me a bunch of your art and I'll make like a specific GAN for it.
Yeah.
And run only your art through it. Train this to print out images only of your art and like mix it all together and stuff.
Because you did everydays for a year. So you have 300 pieces of art.
I sent him like 500, almost 600 renders.
Oh my God.
Yep. Which was like enough of a data set.
I don't even think I have that in my back catalog, dude. That's insane.
So it's a lot of work. And like, but it's also different too. Like some of it's like cities, some of it's landscape, some of it's portraits, some of it's abstract shit.
Yeah.
So what came out of it was really interesting. That was a combo of all this stuff. But like the colors and shapes, I could look at it and be like if I squint my eyes, that looks like like we had a bunch of them next to each other. I'm like, I squint my eyes, that looks like my Instagram from a year ago. If you like look at the grid view.
Yeah.
That's sick.
Yeah.
And so we were bouncing ideas back and forth, and I was like, okay, this is cool, but how do we make this a project, right?
Yeah.
Because like it's cool having this like machine spit out like renders, but the renders themselves weren't like quite like almost, they're like a novelty to it.
Right.
It wasn't like this is a game changer. I'm like, how do we make this a game changer? So we said, all right, let's work on a project for async. We finished the project before we sent it to async.
Okay.
And we were just like banking that they'd like it.
Yeah.
Which they did.
Sick.
And so basically what it is I, sent to his GAN, he just named it Felix. So I sent Felix, this AI, all this art, and it put out all this outputs of it. We picked our favorite 3 and then built, I made a template of a room with a figure in it and a frame on the wall of that room, and put 1 in there, themed the room out from there, like backwards, like the whole room out, like, and we decided to like, what's this represent, blah, 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 blah. And the second one themed the room out, third one themed the room out.
Oh, yeah.
And so now it's all interchangeable. So you can change the paintings, you can change the rooms, you can change all this stuff with the layer changers and async.
Dude.
And so we're like, that's cool, but how do we now like create a narrative around this?
Yeah.
And make it more than just like, that's like another level of novelty, which is cool. And it's something that like you can do on the blockchain. It's these layer states. And so the project's called The.Compression because I'm conversating with this AI. The AI is conversating back with me. And then we release it, and now we have a conversation with the collectors. So the collectors then, basically whoever owns the layers gets to show the art how they wish. They're like the final interpreter of the conversation.
I love that.
And so the collectors now become artists in a sense.
Yeah.
And we have this whole thing set up, and we're going to do a second run of the conversation where if you change a layer state in the first conversation, it like respectively changes a different thing in the second conversation. So it's like this domino effect, and we're going to do all these different layers. So we want it to be like this really long-term project where like a lot of art doesn't have interactability through time with it. Okay. And that's one of the cool things about NFTs is because it's on the blockchain, stored on the blockchain forever, basically. You can change something in this first state. So we do the conversation. It's a certain configuration of all the different layers.
Yeah.
And then say like someone's kid, the collector's kid, and 20 years from now, he gets gifted it. He changes something. Maybe there's 10 other conversations, 20 other conversations out there that we've done. And the kid changes something and watches every other one change.
Yo, that's crazy. That is so fucking cool. I've been waiting for something like that to actually, like, I didn't even know about async, so this is mind-blowing.
You should check out async, yeah.
Yeah, because I knew something like that was possible because I seen, like, Pac try to, I don't even mean to say try, but, like, I've seen Pac do somewhat, like, some things that are reactive like that, and, like, but I'm always thinking, like, even watching those roll out, I'm like, I feel like you can do more, like, I feel like there's more interactivity there. That's fucking cool. Yeah, that's cool as hell.
And right now we're building a chat bot with GTP3.
Yeah,
which I don't know if you're aware of that. That's like a really powerful AI that and I'm not the AI dude here, Karan is. So sorry if I butcher this, but it's a language-based AI. And basically, it's like can almost pass the Turing test when you talk to it.
Oh, Jesus.
Just through the chat.
That's terrifying.
It's really terrifying. And
is that the Google? The bit like?
I think it's Google. Yeah.
Yeah.
Google's OpenAI is the platform it runs on.
Yeah. That's it. Yeah. Okay.
It's crazy, bro. Like you can like say you want to sign a contract for something, right? And the lawyer gives you this like crazy stack of papers. You scan that, put it through this thing, and it will condense everything into layman's terms. Just like layman's terms.
That's crazy.
Fast. And that's just like one of the things. I saw this crazy video where these people.
I can't wait until I don't like have to pay a lawyer for it.
Exactly, bro.
Although I love Chris. Shout out Chris. Chris is great.
We'll do it with like medical text too.
Yeah.
I saw this crazy video of these guys built this app based on this API where they're like, I want a website that looks like Flickr.com, but it's about like customer management.
Yeah.
And then they click OK, and it just builds it. And then you're like, I want some customer reviews. Boom. There's like fake customer reviews at the bottom. And it looks professional. Like you pay someone $1,000 or $2,000 to make a website like that.
What?
And you just say like, I want it like a website that is like Instagram, but only for photos of cats. And it will like just draft it up for you immediately.
Yeah. Wow.
It's crazy, dude.
That's terrifying. But that being said.
Yeah. So we're making a chatbot with that's trained on our project.
Yeah.
So Karan's like telling this chatbot all about our project, and then we're putting it online, and you're gonna be able to like talk with this and ask it questions about our project, and hopefully it will answer correctly and not speak out gibberish. But we got like a rough draft going right now. It's pretty cool.
I feel like your stuff already looks like it's coming from an AI.
Trying my hardest.
Yeah.
No, but when you told me that idea, just when you told me you were working with Karan, I was like, whoa. Because NFTs, like, I look at Picasso and Basquiat and all like the big names, and they all did something different and took the medium that they had at their time and their paint, everything, and pushed it to the max to express themselves and express whatever they wanted to say.
Yeah.
And, they didn't have access to the technology we have access to now. And with that, like you and Karan, like, I don't know other projects that are doing that. And that's pushing the medium. Like if this was paint, like you're pushing that to the max. And so you guys are just like doing something so different. And we're driving to my house, and it was like a long drive. And I was sitting in the car, and I was like, dude, do you understand how important this is?
Yeah.
And you were like, nah, bro. Like, and I was like, seriously? Like in the space, the thought put into that, you guys spend so long on it. Like that's major. And despite whatever happens, like artistically, to me, that's like groundbreaking. That's
an interesting take on it. Cause that's wild. That's not like, I think being in the generation that I am, like my brain doesn't immediately go to that take. So like when Nathaniel's telling me about that, I'm just like, that is a sick ass idea and that'll be really fun. But what you're saying is actually an incredible point, because it's like, well, technically what they're doing is taking the tools, like you're saying, they're taking the tools that they have and they're doing whatever like great artist has done, and that's pushing it completely to the end. Because I very rarely, and I think it's because I grew into where the internet is now. Like for instance, when I was in high school, like I had like a flip phone, like shit like that. Like the internet was not like that. So for me, everything that happens is like on the cutting edge. So I'm like, oh no, you don't like have to push it. Like we're already like on the edge.
4D itself is a cutting edge in a sense.
That's what I'm saying. Yeah, like it's so fascinating to me already that I can make digital art. Mm-hmm. But like for you probably like in grade school, you probably already had Facebook and whatnot. Yeah. Like I didn't, you know what I mean? So it's like for you, it's like that baseline internet and that baseline technology is probably very normalized. So it's like, oh, what Nathaniel's doing here is like, yo, you're actually pushing that edge, which like that is like so fucking powerful. And you're right. That is like a special fucking thing, actually. I think like it's shit like that. Like whether or not, how do I put it? Whether or not something lands or does well isn't really important, because I think like when it comes to that stuff, it's important on like personal levels. But I think when it comes to that stuff, it's just like the NFT thing. It's like the first dude that was doing it, first guy or gal that was doing it, that was like out there, was technically doing some like literal like game changing like provocative shit like with technology. And so I think the more opportunities, and this is something that I slept on so much when I was younger, because I was just trying to be a good musician or just trying to be a good artist, like that kind of thing. But the more opportunities that could be new and game changing and like cutting edge, that's the shit that moving forward, I think, is what's really important. You know, what's really valuable, that kind of thing. That's actually crazy inspiring. I want to learn more about async now, because that sounds fucking sick.
It's cool. And yeah, and Pac is another one of those dudes who like I see, and you know, he causes whatever kind of drama he causes on Twitter and shit, and like whatever. But like the ideas that he has for his art is like this project was definitely inspired by him in a sense.
Yeah.
About like how do we use, like what I fear is NFTs becoming like Instagram 2.0.
Yeah,
it's just the same stuff that we were all doing before, but and trust me, like I'm so hyped artists are getting paid. That's one of the biggest things about this is like I can't count on like 10 pairs of hands like how many artists that can now pay rent, that can now like have a savings account, and like buy like a new graphics card, et cetera, et cetera, et cetera.
Myself included.
Yeah, for sure, bro. Like all my homies who like jumped on it and are jumping on it, and like it's like still so easy to find success in it. And that's like one of the biggest things, honestly, that makes me happy is like,
I want to chime in about that exact sentence that you said, so easy to find success. For a lot of people, that's a divisive sentence. And I think like that needs to be looked at by like social media in general, and like just by people in general, because what I mean by that is a lot of people, like probably even like a younger, jaded version of myself as well, when someone says it's so easy to find success,
it's relative.
Right. Well, no. So like, regardless of subjectivity, let's say it was objectively true. You know what I mean? When someone says that and people hear that, a lot of people, it like triggers this like, oh, bullshit kind of thing where they're like, fuck them. You know, like I'm just being real. Like there's like that instinctive, like they go to like whatever negative thought on it, like Ponzi scheme, pyramid scheme, like Buddy was saying, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
And the thing I want to say about that is I think and this is like some shit I'm learning as I get older, I think as like, and like myself, like I wish my younger self would have adopted this, but I think what people need to do is look at why they're thinking that way. Like it needs to be like, whoa, why is that a negative thought? Why is there a combat with the idea of like, yo, people are finding like this is a big come up for a lot of people, even collectors as well. Dude, the resale market is fucking crazy, you know? Yeah. Like I think like it, and I see you're saying something, so sorry to cut you off, but like I think it's just like that ties into the like negativity versus positive mindset, where this is not some like a toxic positivity shit. Like I really think people need to be like, what's the issue with everybody winning here? Yeah. With like happiness and shit.
Well, it usually doesn't work like that. So, and a lot of people have been burned by things that, and look, I'm not saying it's easy, period.
Right.
I'm not saying it's a get rich quick method.
Yeah.
What I'm saying is the people who have been grinding their ass off for years with no success are finding success now. And it's because of NFTs.
That's what I mean. That's what I mean in context to that.
Yeah.
Because like, that's what it's like when you look at this scene, it's like, what's really happening is a lot, like you're saying, a lot of people that have been hustling their ass off have not been getting a return on this. I mean, like fucking look at a banker, dude. A banker goes to work 40 hours a week and gets paid $15 an hour or whatever their wages there, and they walk away with that money. You got fucking artists that have been working 12 hours a day, making $1,500 a month for a decade. You know what I mean? It's like, dude, so when you say like this, when you say it's easy to find a success, and I'm harping on that because I don't think I don't think it's a bad thing that you said that, because it's like, yeah, dude, for these people, it should have been easy to find success. Exactly, it should have been for a long time. Like, who the fuck do you know that's like grinding like 12 hours a day? And I mean like a common person, like whoever's out there putting in work like that, they deserve some bread. Like shit, you deserve to have a savings. Fuck, you know?
Yeah.
That's my thing. And that's why like when you see like people on social media diving into that kind of darker side of the outlook of the scene, I'm like, dude, well, like think about what you're really saying. You know, what you're really saying is these people that are dedicating their life to this shit for whatever reason don't deserve this. That's what the underlying rhetoric of that is.
Yeah, I get that vibe a lot, honestly. Like it hurts when I see people talk about like all this kind of stuff. I'm like, do you not see the lives that are being changed?
Straight up.
Like tangibly, bro. Like, and that's like a lot of stuff I see on the internet talking bad about NFTs has this underlying tone of you don't deserve to get paid. Like shouldn't be a high paying job, bro.
That's my thing. My thing. And like it doesn't, and that never gets looked at. It's just like because it's deep in the rabbit. I think it's because to like the layman, like they haven't actually thought about that critically, you know, because so many people have been posting masterpieces on Instagram for like a decade. Like
so good.
Yeah. Like incredible artists. And so it's so normalized. Like, yeah, they just do that. It's like, dude, like you don't just do that. You know what I mean? So yeah.
Literally decades of just like going crazy and putting everything into your art. Like,
yeah.
Like, yeah, I mean, and I shouldn't say it's easy to succeed. I should clarify that and say this is a place for people who have put in that work. And sure, I mean, I see people who haven't put in that work succeed.
Yeah.
And so in a sense, like, yeah, it's easy for them to succeed because they got lucky and like talked to the right people and like met the right connections or maybe their work's just inherently good and catchy for the internet and like shit like that. And there's some bad actors out there who like try to gamify it and look at it like how can we milk the most money out of this and take advantage of it. But for the most part, like 9 times out of 10, the people I see succeeding the hardest, fuck Render, for example. Dude, putting in so much work for so long, biggest clients out there.
I don't even know, dude, but shout out to fuck Render, dude. Yeah.
Another dude, Baka Arts.
Dude. Yeah.
I watched when I first got into 3D art a few years back, I watched the first tutorial that like I could sit through and was interested on was this Photoshop manipulation tutorial that was Baka Arts.
Yeah.
And one day, a month or two ago, I woke up and he commented on one of my pieces of art on Twitter. And I was like,
awesome.
I was like, this can't be the same dude.
Yeah.
It was the same dude.
Yeah.
And so we started talking and like we're friends now. And he is another one of those dudes who like huge success in the space. And I don't know what people think when they look at that. I'm like, bro, this dude, first of all, put up a YouTube channel to try to teach people years ago. Like, he's the whole reason that I probably stuck with art to a certain extent. Like, if I didn't watch that tutorial, who knows if I would have just given up because everything else is fucking boring on YouTube to me.
Yeah.
And, like, the fact that he can have a savings account and he can fucking ball out a little bit, like, he's put in that work, dude.
Yep.
Like, personally speaking, when I was doing my Everdays, dude, I was doing it on tour. I was sitting in the club an hour before my set, before I played music on my laptop, like fucking hacking away at 4D. Like, it's like, I don't know, man. Like
my favorite story of like the hustle is like when my sleep schedule got fucked for like 2 years. So like, yeah. So like, this is like a real thing, and my roommates know. When you say, a lot of times when people say that, they're like, oh, crazy, you're staying up till 4 a.m. No, dude. For literally 2 years of my life, I was going to bed at 10 a.m. and waking up at 4 p.m.
Yeah.
So, and the reason that was happening is because I would do about like 16-hour days. Like, that was the thing. I do like 12 to 16-hour days. And I was telling y'all about it. I have this problem where I'm like, if something isn't solved, it'll keep me up. So I need to solve it with my art before I pass out. And so like that got me pushing my sleep further and further and further until I'm just like, I'm beyond. It's like I'm beyond nocturnal. I'm just literally, I never see sunlight. And that was the case for 2 years. I like the NFT stuff because something I've noticed that I find really fascinating, especially when you're considering the people like Baka Arts and Fuck Render and whatnot, is that it's kind of the only thing in my lifetime that I've ever seen that puts me in the same room as you and puts Nathaniel in the same room as you. You know, you put oil on canvas, you know, like you sit down, you make paintings, you make tangibles, right? Now, like the work is getting done. Like artists are going to hustle. But prior to NFTs, there's Instagram, and then there's like the artists.
Traditional art.
Exactly. There's traditional art.
Instagram was never in Mocha or never in galleries. Until fucking people, bro.
Tell people. Yeah, tell people.
That tweet where it's like top living artists and Beeple's 3.
Yeah, dude.
When I saw that, I like wanted to cry. I was like, that's beautiful.
Did you see the video of him crying?
Crying?
Yeah.
Of people?
Yeah, it only shows it for a second. But it's a Christie's video. And it's when that $69 million bid.
I just know he's like, I'm going to Disney World.
So it's on that same video, but you got to look close. It's in that same video. So when he says that, they like start yelling, and then there's a quick clip of people just like that.
Oh.
He's fully crying. in that shot. Yeah. It's pretty beautiful.
Put in fucking work, bro.
Yeah, oh my God. Well, okay, so this is the best example of what we're talking about. Like, not just simply putting in work, but I mean, that guy's been, what is it? It's like 5,000 every days or something like that. Like
13 years.
13 years of every day. So what the fuck? I can't even do the math on that.
He just hit 5,000 every day sometime in the past year.
So yeah, 5,000 every day. He's done 5,000 pieces of art, and I remember since 2017, that was when I first found people. Since 2017, I was like, this dude's creating a body of work that's unbelievable. And I was like, how does he pay his rent? Like, he's just doing these every days. I was like, how does he pay his rent?
And he gives shit away for free. He's like, you want to use this for album cover? Take it for free.
Exactly.
When I was touring and going to festivals, I can't count how many times I saw Beeple's loops being played because he gave them away for free.
Constantly.
And that helps so many VJs I know get their skin in the game and be like, cool, I have like cool visuals I can play while I VJ now that like I'm too broke to buy. And I just love VJing.
Yep.
Like,
so the whole time I was like, how is this guy going to pay his bills? Like, he has to be doing client work. But like, how do you even fit that in with everydays? And there's like this firm belief that I have that work does not go unnoticed. Fundamentally, however long, at like a zero sum, at the final fucking, at the longest timeline that you can fit, at some point in the game, the work does not go unnoticed. You know what I mean? And so when that happened, it was like validation of that theory where I was like, dude, he did it. Like, that's it. It came through for him. And he fucking deserves to be top 3 artist in the world. You know what I mean? Like, he put in that fucking work.
You know what's crazy about that?
What's up?
Some people who don't know who Beeple is look at this and they say he blew up overnight.
It's insane.
It's crazy.
It's insane. It is insane. Yeah. And that's also another case. I mean, Christie's is an actual manifestation of like putting digital artists in the same room as traditional artists, because that is the same that happening. But he's like the dude where it's like, I think that broke the wall of like, artists are just artists now.
Yeah.
That's the thing. And here's like about the whole like the financial gain of it all and the stigma that has. Dude, artists have been a Basquiat in the day, like back in the 80s, was selling for like $100,000. You know what I mean? And it's like, what that dude he's an artist. He's an artist like all of us. Like, why would there be a mentality that anyone else that just cranks out art using the mediums that they have, like, aren't gonna, like, my point really is that fine art of all kinds, a banana on the fucking wall, has sold for a lot of money since like the dawn of time. People collect. That's what they do. So I just think there's no difference. And there was nothing that was saying that there's no difference until the NFT.
There's so many parallels between that paradigm and when it's, I think, changed for the most part now, but even just 5, 6, 7 years ago, where you make electronic music and people are like, that's not real music though, bro.
Bruh.
I know you've both gone through that one, dude.
Yeah.
They're like, you don't play any instruments? And you're like, I play all the instruments on a computer.
Yeah. And the paradigm there too, like another thing there is like with physical art, when you buy like a canvas, the ones I hear a lot are like hanging on your wall.
Sure.
That's like the thing that I always hear. And I love that conversation because because like there's so many things to say about that. For starters, with when you compare it to music, it's like, well, I can't play Wasting Your Breath. Like I can't play my song Wasting Your Breath on a fucking banjo. You know what I mean? Like you're not hearing that without an electronic system. You just aren't.
You need speakers.
You need speakers, and everyone accepts that.
Nice speakers too.
Hey,
I really appreciate it.
There you go. And everyone accepts that because that's how music has been since like the 70s. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? Since there was mediums to play music.
Record music.
Yeah, exactly. And so that's just accepted. Mm-hmm. Now, when you look at digital versus physical art, you're lying if you say that you don't spend over half of your day looking at a screen. You know what I mean? You are lying. Like I know boomers that I've worked with in the restaurant industry that like, you kids look at your fucking, they'd be like, you kids look at your phone all goddamn day long. You know what I mean? I'm like, you do, bro. You know, shit. But yeah, everyone does it. If you're walking in downtown LA, there's screens everywhere. You know what I mean? So that you can just knock that. You can just knock that barrier right down. Like, dude, we all have digital mediums to look at art all the times.
You got iPhone wallpaper. You got desktop wallpaper. You got a screensaver on your fucking TV.
On your TV. Yeah, exactly. Constantly, right? And that's only going to evolve more. That's only going to continue more and more. I mean, like back in like the early 2000s when they started putting fucking LCD screens in like Pimp My Ride cars. You know what I mean? Mm-hmm. It's like now, yeah, like Uber drivers have LCD screens in their cars now. Mm-hmm. It's like they go everywhere. So it's like you can knock the whole like where are you going to look at it? That you're going to look at it all the time. Now the other one, which is like my favorite, is the paying for pixels thing, which I love so much because this is my thing. This is my thing personally. With a Basquiat, with a Da Vinci, like it doesn't matter. With like any Rembrandt, you can go to FedEx today if you want. You can go to FedEx Kinko's today and pay $80 to have them print the highest fidelity Rembrandt on a canvas on a piece of canvas right now. You can hang that up on your wall. $80, you have a Rembrandt. You know what I mean? So it's like, why would people buy a Rembrandt? Dude, because it came from Rembrandt. Yeah. It's the real deal, you know?
And like the other thing I don't think people realize is these like the super uber rich collectors who do collect the originals from these famous artists. Most of the time, they hang a print on their wall and they put the original in a storage where it doesn't deteriorate.
That's a whole nother thing. Exactly.
But it's the concept of I own the original that like is all that matters. It doesn't matter what you're looking at on the wall at the time. I mean, cool. Yeah. Museums, you go in a museum and you like, it's cool to look at the brush strokes and stuff like that. But like, that's such a small part of the story that gets so overemphasized, I think, in the conversation.
I mean, you can also have like a replicant. You can have someone paint a replicant. Like the reason those pieces are beautiful is not because someone like has the ability to paint them. It's because someone did paint them from, you know, they made that painting. And I mean, besides, I don't think anyone's replicating your shit, to be honest. Your stuff is spaz brain. It is wonderful.
I've seen people try and it's weird.
And it's weird.
Like this looks like Fuo, but it's definitely not Fuo.
I think it's funny when people are like, a JPEG just sold. It's like, bro, you don't say a stretched canvas just sold.
Yo, that's like another thing.
A piece of paper with $20 worth of oil paints just sold for $20 million.
It's like, yep. Yeah, if you want to. Also, yo, shout out to that. Fuck it. Who printed that again? It was someone really big. It was like New York Times or something like that. But
yeah, one of those.
Yeah, shout out to them because it wasn't a fucking JPEG. It was a PNG. And it was probably 16-bit. I'm just saying.
It was very high fidelity.
Yeah, what was it, 21,000 pixels or something like that?
Hey,
it was
man, that's
21K.
It's still an expensive pixel, but
yeah, right.
But, I mean, look at the fucking money in your wallet. It's a piece of paper, bro. It's what we assign value to.
That's true.
Look at the numbers.
Oh God, that's a whole nother level.
Look at the numbers in your bank account. They're numbers on a screen on your phone that you assign value to. It's like it's not what it is in the physical world.
Words are just scribbles.
Yeah, exactly.
We're just making fucking weird sounds with our mouths right now to convey a message. Like it's I don't understand.
That's the best take. I never thought of that. But yeah, it's like, yeah, technically everything we just kind of assign value to.
We just assign value to it.
Yeah.
And like, that's the same thing happening here. We're just assigning value to a new thing. And some people catch on to that sooner than others.
Yeah.
And it turns out that if it's a really good idea, the people who catch onto it first get a head start.
Yeah.
That's
also, who the fuck doesn't like to collect art when they can? I don't
and support lives of people alive.
Oh,
right
that's
now.
a huge thing. Yeah, I mean, I
love collecting art now.
Yeah,
like
I haven't gotten NFTs because I'm speaking transparently here. This is probably too much for the pipe, but like I haven't come up enough to where I'm like because my thing, I'm an artist, so I'm not gonna buy some I'm not gonna fucking screw someone over and get like a $300 NFT. Even though like if I find an artist that I like, I don't like. Especially, I'm gonna look for like new ones that aren't getting high bids. I'm going like 5K. Like I'm gonna be like, dude, no. Like when I buy my first piece, I'm going at least like 3 Ether on that. Because it's like, dude, like
you don't want to like you look at someone's price history and you don't want to undercut them. You want to add value to them because you appreciate them.
Exactly.
Yeah. It's the best feeling in the world when I go to someone's pieces and their last bid was like 1 ETH and I'm like 5.
Theo just did that to me the other night.
Oh my god!
I had something reserve set to 2 ETH, and then Fuo tweeted. Fuo was like, "I just bid on this." And I was like, "What did Fuo do this time?"
What did he do this time?
I went and looked. It was like 7, and it's just like, and it's not like I asked for that.
You fucking sweetheart.
It's just like Fuo fucking like I know Fuo appreciates my art, and that's like a genuine thing. And I try to do that with people too now that I've made some big sales, like people that I respect, people that I look up to. Yeah. Where I see like they're just kind of entering the NFT space. And I'm like someone like outbids me by 0.1 ETH, I'll come back a whole ETH higher just to be like, no, like this is valuable.
Yeah. There's this dude who just entered this. He just started minting stuff. Tiago, something with an M. Tiago, I don't know. I'd have to pull it up on my IG. But that dude, I've been wanting him to mint stuff for a really long time, and that was the first time I got FOMO, seeing someone get a piece. Because I was like, dude, like I actually wanted your work really bad. I just like am not up like that.
That happened to me last week. You know Uzium?
Tiago Marino. Yeah, Tiago Marino.
I'll have to check him out.
Good.
You know Uzium?
Yeah, I think so. I do.
He does like those like really pretty. He does like crazy subsurface scattering and does these like really beautiful. Check him out on Instagram. But I remember coming across his work on Reddit when I was just starting to do 3D art. And maybe I was doing it a little bit, but it was before I got Octane. I remember being like, wow, I need to get, I saw that, I was like, I need to get Octane.
Yeah.
And I just like remember seeing that. I'm like, this dude's on a fucking another level. And he entered the NFT space recently. Super, super nice dude.
Nice.
Which is always great when you see someone's art and then they're just a fucking genuine sweet person. And you're like, yes.
Yeah.
And most artists are that I've interacted with. Like most artists are pretty damn cool. And
I think it comes out in the work sometimes.
Yeah, that too. And I saw someone.
Can I hit that again?
Yeah, I saw someone buy his work, and I got FOMO, dude. I was like, I remember seeing that piece on Reddit. Like, I want that. And I saw him upload this other piece, which was the very first piece I saw that made me go, holy shit. And he uploaded it to Foundation.
Yeah.
And I was like, I'm getting that. And
I saw that on Twitter. Yeah.
I was able to grab it.
That's so sick.
And up his value. And like that, one of the best feelings in the world, being like, I own this piece of art that has like such, like it's burned into my memory as like one of the pieces I saw that changed how I looked at 3D renders. That was when I was first starting.
That was with that Tiago dude. Yeah. He minted a piece that I looked at as like up for inspiration for a really long time.
Yeah.
Someone got it though. Someone got it. FOMO.
Oh, dude, you just gotta buy it from them.
One day, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure. Dude, like once I get one of the big ones, I'm putting it out in the universe. Then I'm gonna go in because like, man, there's some artists there. And that's really what I think when I'm like looking at the space. I'm like, dude, that person should have been on. They should be sitting comfortably because people just kill it. People kill it all the time.
And that's what's so cool also about artists getting paid is artists buy other artists' work.
Yeah.
Because not only are we creators, but we're art appreciators.
Phil is a fucking G in that space, dude.
100%. His collection is awesome. For
those who don't know, he was buying you were getting an NFT right before you left to get on the plane to go to LA. We were
I was like, let's go. And feels like I'm in the middle of an auction right now. Yeah. I was like, use my hotspot in the car. We're gonna bounce.
I was straight up, dude. I was like watching that. I was telling you, I was watching it on Twitter, and I was like, how you're gonna be late? Like what?
The cool thing about that one too is it was that artist's second NFT ever.
Oh no shit.
Yeah, and
that's
I was
pretty
like,
great. Yeah. That's pretty dope. That's pretty dope.
It's cool too. I like having these pieces that I know will be valuable.
Yeah.
Like in my investor brain, I'm like, this is really valuable, but also I'm like, I'm literally never gonna sell these. Yeah. And I love that anyone, like, it doesn't matter. I'm never gonna sell them.
Like the Jonathan Wolf piece.
Yeah. This Jonathan Wolf piece that I have got a $40,000 bid. And I tweeted like,
bought it like 6 months ago.
Yeah, I bought it 6 months ago.
No way.
Yeah, for $2,000. And when I bought it for $2,000, I didn't have the money that I have now.
No,
I did not have that money.
No
but
way.
I was like, because Jonathan Wolf, like in my brain, like he's gonna be famous, like beyond, like I don't know, something about him, like Keith Haring. I feel like he'll be like that kind of famous.
Yeah. Something special.
Yeah. So I bought his art. I'm like, I literally like, I don't have the money for this. Yeah. But I bought it.
Yeah.
And I get this $40,000 bid. And it made me happy to see him getting that offer. But also I'm like, I'm never selling this. Like everything I buy, like I'm just keeping it.
That's so great.
I see people coming into space to buy and then flip, which is really cool, but like whatever.
It's cool because there's royalties. So no matter what, the artist wins.
Yeah.
That was the cool. Yeah. With the exception of private sales.
Sure. Yeah.
But
in my brain,
I saw that.
I'm keeping this.
Hell yeah. I saw the royalty thing on Super Rare, and that's when I was like, dude, this is awesome. You know, this is a great
changer.
Yeah.
I what was I just gonna say? I don't know. That is wonderful though. That is wonderful. But yeah, I think the fuck was I just dude. Yeah, I've had collectors tell me like that was the most surprising thing to me. I've had collectors tell me, they're like, dude, I'm never fucking selling this. And I was like, what? Like you, like it's so flattering to me because I'm like, I'm just me, dude. Like I'm just little old me. Like that's crazy to me. And I think like that was another eye-opening thing about the NFT space where I'm like, people actually, and I'm not trying to get cheesy or anything, but it was like, oh, people actually care. Like that was mind-blowing to me, you know, because collectors. Yeah, dude, because I think, which you could probably relate as well. You could probably relate as well. But with music for me, especially like for a really long time, it was just hustling my ass off to get a listen. It was like, please, like, even if some songs would hit or whatever, it was still like, oh my God, I can't believe you guys listened because I've just been begging for listens for all this stuff for so long. And then to have someone be like, I got this so I can like forever have this was like, dude, what?
It's such a validating feeling, bro.
Yeah.
I same with my music, bro. Like I give away my music for free.
Yeah.
Because I would rather like have it on someone's phone and they just like bump it in their car and have a moment where they remember like, oh, like for me, when I listen to music, it can be really nostalgic where like it takes me back to a moment in my childhood, my youth, where it was just like, oh, I remember I was like 14 years old chilling with my first girlfriend. Yeah. And like we were in the car with her mom and we were laughing and the song was playing. And I'll listen to a song, it'll take me back to that moment. And it's such a beautiful feeling.
When we're in the restaurant today.
Yeah.
Dude, that was so real. That was so real. Yeah, I heard a song for the listeners. I heard Lou Reed's Take a Walk on the Wild Side in the restaurant timing is really crazy in my life with music. That's something I really notice. So like I've had really memorable moments where I like a song ends right at the right time, that kind of thing. We finished our meal and the song Take a Walk on the Wild Side by Lou Reed started playing. And for me, this was surreal because it was like, I see Parrott has come up.
There's
I do that.
Parrott in France.
I do that because I knew that before you were Parrott. Yeah, dude. Yeah, but
actually the correct pronunciation. No one in my family says that, but respect.
Yeah, I have a habit of
fancy, dude.
Yeah. But so I knew you before any of this stuff, and like so I'm looking at my friend who is like essentially like, I mean, for lack of a better, like I don't know how you feel about me saying this, but blew the fuck up. And then just meeting you tonight, and I'm like, this is a fucking prodigy. And I'm like sitting there and I'm like, I'm financially stable for the first time in my life. We just finished this like low key expensive as fuck meal. I just had I had caviar for the first time tonight. And I'm like looking around like this is kind of surreal. And then this song, Take a Walk on the Wild Side, plays. And the last time I heard that song was when I was probably 15 years old in Vermont when I was living low income, and it was in my stepdad's Dodge Neon. That's where I used to listen to music. Stepdad's Dodge Neon. We were just like low class America, like low income America. And that was the last time I heard that was when I was a kid, and it was like, wow, at that time, any of the shit that I've seen in my life now seemed like unbelievable. You know what I mean? And now it's like skip forward 12 years later as like an adult, and I just finished this meal and then that song starts playing. And it was like this weird rap of just everything in between. It was like, what the fuck, dude?
It's like that kind of thing. Like what we were talking about earlier about like music and movies and how it works. And it works like that in life sometimes too.
Absolutely.
Where, like it feels like it's like wrapping up all this stuff to this moment.
Yeah.
So beautiful, man.
Like also, when I watched the movie Soul, seeing that movie.
Dude, I haven't seen it yet. I want to.
So good, bro.
Is it?
That's so the kind of movie where it's like you need, like, I don't know. When I watched it, it like something where I was like, I needed that. Yeah. It felt like I wrapped up this chapter and now let's take what I learned and then move on.
I love that so much.
Yeah.
Dude, you're like 18. It's crazy. Like, it trips me out. Like, that is so wild to me.
I forget it all the time. I'm like, you're born in like 2003?
Yeah.
You're also, that's insane. Holy shit. Dude, that's legitimately 10
years before YouTube came out, bro.
That's 10 years. That's 10 years before when I was born. That's 1993 on my arm.
Oh my gosh.
Yeah, that's so wild. But yeah, like that trip, the thing I've learned about Victor, everyone, in the short time, like the past couple of days that I've known him, you're one of the most like strangely genuine artists I've ever met. And that's no cap. I'm not gassing you up right now. Like I met a lot of fucking people, and I have, anyway, I met a lot of fucking people, and like, it's so it's like literally Victor is so innocent and so truly just loves art and shit, and it's very refreshing. And so you're 18 years old and have so much more fucking like insight into what you're doing and what you want to do than I ever had at that age. It's mind blowing. It is mind blowing. I gotta say, I'm happy to see everything happen, because it's like, and now like having met you now, I'm just like, yeah, that's the guy. Like, that's the right guy.
That's what I think too.
Straight up, yeah. Like, that's no bullshit, man. I'm not the type of fucking dude to just like gas someone up. Like, that's just real honesty, man. Like, I'm just like, yeah, this is what a fucking artist looks like, man. Like, it's pretty wild. Pretty wild. Thank you, man. Yeah, straight up. Straight up, dude. Straight up. Yeah. I think me and my friend Taylor, he's like the owner of Alpha Motif, we talk about people who are like given the keys. That's what we call it. Sometimes like the wrong people get the keys, low-key, and sometimes the right people get the keys. And this is one of those cases that it's like really inspiring, because I'm like, the right person really got the keys here, man. Like, really.
That's what's so fucking cool about the NFT space, bro. And
that's it. By the way, sorry to cut you off. Same with you. Like, that's no fucking cap. I'm just a little bit more taken aback because I just met Victor, but I've known you for so long, and like, dude, we could go on about this for a minute, which I've told you a bunch of times, but when I, like, in the fucking club, in Q nightclub, I was like, dude, you're fucking so good already. Like, I remember, like, I tell you this shit all the time, but I was like, when you get really good at Octane, like, teach me all the shit so I can learn from you.
Dude, that was so cool when you said that. I remember because Laura knew you.
Yeah.
And she was like, you and Connor get along so well. And I was, like, intimidated by you because I heard your music. You had a collab with Bass Nectar. You were like this insane visual artist. I'm like, there's no way Connor wants to talk to me. Lauren, like, you're just too nice. Like, you think everyone...
Dude, when we were in the so I don't remember if it was... Maybe it was like X and G's show or something like that. I don't know.
I think so.
Yeah, you're in the underground and you had your laptop and you were like doing, like, you were working on something right then and there. And this was when I think this is pre C4D. I think I was just in... Element 3D in After Effects. Mm-hmm. And I was like, yo, what do you got going on there? And like, I started chopping it up and I was like, dude, Like I was kind of like frustrated because I was like, this motherfucker is picking this shit up so fast. Like I was like, dude, what the fuck, man? Like it was just tripping me out, dude. It was tripping me out. The whole time, there's a few people in Seattle, like Omar was one of them too. Kumarion. There's a few people in Seattle where I was like, you got real, like hidden gems, hidden gems. And that was like the whole time I felt about you, especially with your music too, so technical and shit. I was like, man, like this dude, I should not get slept on, should not. It really, yeah. Yeah. And then, actually, I know you're saying something. I feel I fucking ADD and cut people off all the time. But with your visuals, dude, it was once you got into Corona, and I think once you stepped out of that into Octane, then I remember I was like, it's over. It's all over. Dude, you did like your first render, and I was like, it's all over. Because prior to that, with the cell shading stuff, I was like, this is cool. Yeah. You know what I mean? This is cool. And it was like, this is interesting. A lot of trippy stuff, and it was rad. And I'm like, the color theory there is pretty cool, but it definitely wasn't like speaking subjectively. It didn't seem refined. Mm-hmm. But then once you got Octane, I was like, dude, I'm done.
I was really held back. Like when I was doing my everydays, 6 months of my everydays, I was on a 2012 MacBook Pro.
Yeah,
that's crazy.
That was like beat the fuck up, bro. That was my touring laptop. I took it to festivals. It got rained on.
I remember that computer.
Got dusty.
It was busted.
It was busted, bro. Like the screws missing from the bottom. You open it up and it's just dust. The fan didn't work. The battery was broken. You had to keep it plugged in. There's pieces of paper jammed in to hold like the RAM in place.
What?
Yeah, it was like real busted, bro. So yeah, I was like pretty held back by technology. And just like what I had available. And what changed it for me is Conrank hit me up and was like, I want you to do like album covers for me. And I was using Corona for the first part of that. And he hit me up for this like pretty big project. And I got paid like $2,000 up front.
Nice.
And I was like, no fucking way. And so I just bought like a nice computer, put myself in debt a little bit, but and
as we do.
As we do. And I was able to get Octane. And I was like, I feel like I can like spread my arms out and like fucking do shit now.
Yeah. Yeah.
But I think, having those like technical barriers helped because it made me think more outside the box. It made me like, because I'd get frustrated, bro. I'd see some shit and I was like, I can't do that because I don't have the tools for that. And I'd try to like replicate it in my own way. And that would like make me, think outside the box and try to like find different like creative ways to get shit done.
Yeah.
And I think same kind of story with my music too, man, where like when I started making beats, I was, first of all, I went to high school, 300 kids.
Yeah. Wow.
Yeah. Not that many people.
I thought my school was small. We had 600.
Yeah. And so like, I was like, there's like one other dude a few years older than me that made beats, super tight, by the way, and also rapped. But like when I started in elementary school, I didn't know anyone making beats.
Yeah.
My parents were pretty strict and wouldn't let me have internet. We had like a family computer that I'd have to ask to go on the internet with. And I had this like old Windows 98 originally. And I had XP installed on it in my bedroom. This old desktop that I got given by the dude who was teaching me how to make beats. Creeps. You know Creeps?
I was just about to say,
Creeps and Nettie. You know Nathan Thomas?
Yeah. Oh, yeah. So check this out.
I was 11, teaching me how to make beats.
Dude, I knew that. And I knew it from the other side.
Yeah.
Yeah, I knew it from Creeps. Because I met Creeps well before you. Like he was probably my first like consistent friend in Seattle.
Yeah.
Really, dude, big.
Such a nice guy.
The biggest shout out to Jay. Like Creeps is
so cool. Dude.
Fucking awesome. Listen to his stuff. But dude, this was a trip. So check this shit out. Right before I moved to LA here, right? Even as late as this time, I was at his place and I was like, yeah, man, there's also this side thing that I've been doing. I was like, I've been like selling these NFTs and I like try to like break it down to him, like what it is. And he's like, yeah, that's wild. And I was like, who got me into this is like Parrott, or like I said the same thing. I was like Parrott or Parrott. And he's like, who? And I was like, Pillsby. It's like Nathaniel Parrott. And he was like, oh no shit, I know that dude. Like, really? He's like, what has he been up to? And I was like, dude, he's like making art and it's crazy. And I was like, dude, you gotta check his shit out. And he's like, no fucking way. And I was like, yeah, dude. Yeah, check up on that.
I need to link up with him again, man. It's been a minute.
He's so wonderful. He's
yeah,
good, dude.
I need to go kick it with him again soon. I fucking love that dude. And I owe so much to him and Nathan Thomas because I was 11 years old. My mom did home staging. Nathan's mom did home staging. They like met up with their like home stager convention or something.
He's into that now.
Yeah, that's what he does now too.
Yeah.
And he, my mom was like, I have, my son who's like 11. He wants to be a rapper and make beats and all this stuff. And his mom was like, oh, my son, he was like 21 at the time, I think. It's like, my son makes beats. Like he does lessons too. Like let's have them link up. I remember being in like 5th grade, dude, going over to Nathan's house.
Yeah.
And he had this like, at the time, the coolest studio ever. I was like, this is my dream studio. It was just like at his mom's house in his bedroom. Like,
yeah.
And like, but it was so cool, dude. And I remember I had these lyrics written out and I like rapped this song to him.
That's
and
adorable.
Like he was like, dude, this is something, man. Like let's fucking go.
Yeah.
And like he just believed in me since day one.
So
And
sick.
like he was working in Cubase at the time and like I didn't know how to make beats, but I remember having this notebook being like, this is what hi-hats are, this is what kick drums are, this is what like a hip-hop beat is.
Yeah.
And like I remember being like, I want a beat like this, and he could make a beat like that. And I was like, that's like magic.
Yeah.
And like I probably did like anywhere between like 2 or 4 lessons with him a year.
Gotcha, yeah.
Because I lived in Vashon there in Seattle. It was kind of like an extracurricular activity. My mom didn't really have that much money to like put me up there once a week or anything like that.
Yeah.
And but then they gave me that desktop for Christmas the next year when I was in 6th grade, first year of middle school. And that's I didn't have internet on there, so I just do the first like 3 months. I started in Reason, which is a very confusing program.
Oh, it's so weird.
And dude, like I didn't know how drum beats worked. Like my first beats for like 3 months were just like snare, just drums, because it was like the re-drum thing, and there's just buttons on it. I didn't know you could pull the thing up, and like it was like the session versus whatever view in Ableton.
Yeah, and the Reason is like modular on the back, and it's so weird.
It was so weird, bro. And then so like I forget, linking back to like kind of like technological limitations for like the first 3 years, bro. I didn't watch a tutorial.
Yeah.
And I was just listening to shit on the radio and trying to recreate it in whatever way I could. And like finally, like when I got access to like Ableton and a laptop that had internet on it when I was like 15 or whatever, and like met other people who made beats and was able to like talk about other, shit like that. I felt like I could like stretch my arms with that too. Jay
was the first guy where I was like, oh dude, you can put just more than ozone on your master. I was like, no way. That's like such a good idea.
Yeah.
Because Jay's like got all these racks and shit. Yeah.
Jay's so talented, man.
Yeah.
Speaking of like slapped on, like I feel like that dude needs to be fucking.
I think he should have like 17 hits under his belt. I think he should have albums of hits under his belt.
Like he's better than anyone I hear making beats on the radio. He could have a shot on the radio any day.
Dude, I watched him make, oh my God, I watched him make like fucking like 10 like radio good beats in a day. Like some of them, one of his sessions fully tracked. He made like, as really good producers do, but like this is one of like 5 sessions he did that day. One of his sessions came through, he fucking made the beat on the spot. They tracked the entire song, he engineered it and shat it out in like a 4-hour session. It was like, dude, what? You just literally like lyrics and all just made that song in like 4 hours. Like studio time paid, like good to go.
Other thing, he fucking raps too.
Oh, he's a great rapper.
And he's great. Dude, I remember, have you heard the Grand Rapids project?
I was their DJ.
No way, bro. That's so funny.
Yeah, I was their DJ for like 3 years.
I remember being in middle school and going over there one time, and he gave me a pack of CDs that was Saturday Morning was the album.
Yeah.
The album?
Yeah, dude, I got a copy like in that room.
No way.
It's facts.
Dude, I lost all my copies. They deleted it from the internet. I need a copy of that, bro.
Yeah, I'll copy it for you. Exactly. I have all their albums that made it to print. Yeah.
I remember going to school in 6th grade and maybe it was in high school. I don't remember when it came out, bro. But I remember going to school with those albums, and he gave me like 10 of them or whatever. I remember giving them to my friends, being like, I know these guys. These are guys from NFTs. Check out how fucking sick this is. Me and my buddy Will would like listen to it like on the bus, one headphone each, and just be like,
fuck yeah.
This is so sick.
Fewo, worst question ever.
Uh-oh.
How'd you get started?
How'd I get started?
Yeah.
I was enjoying this lore.
This lore?
Yeah.
Seattle rapper lore?
Yeah, I'm just like...
Yeah, I mean, this is a fun fact. I was like a DJ for rappers in Seattle for like something like 4 or 5 years.
That's crazy, bro.
Turntablist, yeah. Like,
such a small world.
Cool.
Yeah, get me behind turntables. I can really scratch my ass off. Like,
cool.
All that DJ shit. Yeah.
That's really cool.
But yeah, how'd you get started? Which is the most cliche question ever.
With art?
Yeah, with art.
Oh, man.
I just imagine you came out of the womb with like a canvas and shit.
Well, my mom, both of my parents were artists. Like my dad, when he was a little kid, was in art competitions all the time.
Nice.
And would win. And my mom also, like, for when she was in high school, she painted like a whole mural on the wall. Like, they're both amazing artists.
Nice.
So they would always like draw and be like, look at what I made. And like show it to me. And my mom drew me as a penguin. And I was like, you can draw people? What?
As penguins?
Yeah, like you can just, or she was like, what do you want me to draw? And she would just draw it. And I was like, what? Like, I want to do that.
Yeah.
And so I would like draw just because they would just flex to me all the time. And then my grandpa, his mom is a full-on like painter. She never became like famous, but like her house is just full of canvases and paints. That's
my dream.
And she would
get to that level.
Mail me, because she lives in Georgia.
Yeah.
Every Easter, every Halloween, whatever, she would mail me, this month you get oil paints. Okay, now that you have oil paints, I'm going to give you pastels.
Yeah.
Okay, now that you have pastels, I'm going to give you this. So every month I would get a new art supply. And my family never read it. They're like, I don't know, it's your weird art gift.
Yeah.
And I would get it, and I hate reading, so I didn't read what it was, and I would just scribble and mess around with it.
Yeah.
And so I always was making art, because every month I was getting stuff, like new toys. To me, art was toys.
We share that. I'm not even fronting. So my grandma is that's what she does. She's an artist. Her main thing is block prints. But I was really into drawing, right? I like comic books. So my grandma, like once a month, something like that, would like straight up send me
that's so cool.
She'd send me sketch pads. I got like scratch boards before. That's actually why I know about that look, because my grandma sent me like a scratch board with a X-Acto knife and like that. Yeah.
That's dope.
Yeah, dude. Yeah. That's pretty much how I got into actual like tangible arts. Like,
stuff is important.
I never do it anymore. Like that side of it is, it's super important. It's a hands-on stuff. I never do it anymore, but I'm about to get back into it.
Yeah. It's important. I mean, like, looking back, when I was a little kid, I'm like, oh yeah, like a new toy, like whatever. Yeah. But looking back, like, I was growing up and I was being gifted all these art supplies. Yeah. I'm like, wow. Like that totally impacted how I am.
Straight up, that's beautiful. What's funny too is I still have a small stock. Like, I think even here I have some of them of just like art books that my grandma would send me. And what's a trip is I now buy art books for myself. Like that artist I mentioned, Jesse Draxler, like I bought his first book because I was like, I love your stuff. And the irony of it is it took me a minute to realize, I was like, this is the same, like my grandma sends me these. Like, she's doing the same thing, you know? Like I like unconsciously actually shared that with her, where I was like not even thinking about it, but I was like, I also love art books. What the fuck? You know? Yeah. That's so cool. That's so cool. So your grandma sent you art products or like pastels, whatnot, resources. And then you did it through your childhood, and that's from ages what to what?
That was like from when I was like 4 to like 9.
Hell yeah.
And then as I got older, she kind of stopped sending stuff. And I don't know. And then I stopped seeing my grandparents as much. I wasn't going to their house a lot.
Yep.
And then I found out about video games. And then I was just playing video games all the time. And I was like, I'm going to become a Minecraft YouTuber.
Oh, word. Hell yeah.
And I was so set on that. Like, I legit, like, to me, being a YouTuber, I'm like, that is peak success. Like, whatever. Like, it doesn't matter. I was like, I'll do whatever it takes. I want to be a YouTuber.
Yep.
And I like Minecraft.
Yeah.
And I would look at all the videos, and all the popular videos had cool thumbnails.
Yeah.
And I'm like, I need to have the best thumbnails if I'm going to be the best YouTuber.
Yeah. Hell yeah.
So I pirated Photoshop.
As we do.
And would mess around and try to like copy all the famous YouTubers, like how they would do their thumbnails or put their face on a video game character. I'm like, okay, I'm going to take a picture of my face and then transfer it. And then, and so that's like how I learned digital.
Sick. Very sick. So, all right. So you're getting into, did you make Minecraft videos? Did you dive in?
Oh, I got 700 subscribers.
Nice.
And
solid.
Yeah.
Dude, when you're like, how you're talking like.
I was 12.
12. So that's like 8th grade, something like that?
Yeah. No.
Maybe freshman year in high school?
No.
7th grade.
7th grade. Oh, I skipped a grade. That's why.
Yeah. 7th grade.
I skipped a grade. No big deal. But yeah, okay. So 7th grade. That's a huge deal in 7th grade.
Oh,
700 subscribers.
I was like,
that's
oh
ballin'.
my God. And I think what really changed my life is there was this one Minecraft YouTuber. He had 1,000 subscribers. And to me, I'm like, oh my God, he's famous.
Yeah, celebrity.
1,000 subscribers.
Yeah.
and his videos would get like 200 views. And I was like, oh my God. And he was a graphic designer. And in his description, he said like, for commissions, contact me. Here's my Skype.
Hell yeah.
And I was 12, so I'm like, I don't know what a commission is. And I just, oh my God, my favorite YouTuber's Skype is in his description.
Yeah.
And I go to Skype and I text him, hi. And he's like, oh, what are you looking to buy? And I was like, what? And, and he's like, I'm a designer. Like, what do you want? And I'm like, no, I just want to be your friend. Yeah. And it was like so stupid that he was like, I don't know how to say no to you.
Yeah. It's like, his hit me up.
Yeah.
And just throughout time, I would talk to him.
That's like fucking adorable. I'm not gonna lie. But yeah.
And we would call, play Minecraft. And then I don't know what happened, but it evolved into this relationship where he would share his screen. He showed me After Effects.
Dude.
He showed me Cinema 4D. Like, he would just give me like tutorials and I would open it and share my screen. And he was like, okay, like, do this and do that. And
so cool.
Yeah,
That's so rad.
He changed my life. And like, he was like 16 and I'm just like this 12-year-old, like, I don't know. And he was so patient. Just like, okay, like, I'll show you.
Who was this?
His name was Sam. And
shout out to Sam.
Yeah, I needed to talk to him and just tell him, like, bro.
Yeah.
Like, I stopped using After Effects for a while, but now in the NFT space, I knew, like, everything that he showed me, like keyframes and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
And I was like, when I was 12 years old, this guy just showed me everything I needed to know.
That's so fire.
Yeah. That's
awesome.
That's so cool.
So when did you get into the website? When did you start doing that?
So after all that, really into tech, all that. And then, but in my personal life, I live with my father and my father was really abusive and it was terrible. And I went to my grandparents' house and I told them, like, my dad is an abusive guy. This is terrible. I can't live with him anymore.
Yeah.
And so we go to court, whatever. Now I live with my grandparents. Move schools, move everything. I don't have my nice computer. I don't have my anything.
Damn, that.
And so.
I mean, sorry, sidebar. I act like that's like the gnarliest tragedy of that.
Computer.
Yeah.
I mean, my condolences of the whole situation.
And I was so bummed. And my grandparents are like, we're grandparents. I don't care about the internet. They didn't even have Wi-Fi.
Oh, wow, yeah.
And I didn't even have a phone. So, like, I had nothing. Like, literally just the room. And I would sit in the room.
Oh, shit.
And I wasn't allowed to watch TV. So...
You weren't allowed to watch TV?
No, because everyone was always watching the big TV downstairs.
Oh, got you.
So I was just, like, in my room with no TV. And I was like, well, I'm so bored.
Yeah.
What am I going to do? And the only thing I could think to do that was fun was draw on paper.
Yeah.
And that's just...
Wow. That's honestly like solitary confinement. Like,
yeah.
You're low-key tortured to do what you do. But I mean, shit, man. The bright side of it paid off, you know? That's wild, dude. Yeah. Damn.
And eventually they got Wi-Fi and...
all the times a little bit.
Yeah, and then I got a phone. Yeah. And then I would post my art by taking pictures of it. And then... What did you ask me?
Oh, how'd the website start?
Oh, and then my grandparents also would say mean things to me and just not be nice to me.
Oh.
And because I had a phone now, at the same time, I was on Twitter and I would see people post pictures where they're like surrounded by their print orders. And they're like, I live in this house off of print money.
Yeah.
And I'm like, print money? What is that?
There's a way out.
Yeah.
And then I'm like, the only way I can get out of this situation is if I force it and if I make it happen.
Yeah.
So I opened like the free Big Cartel, like just a free website, and bought shirts for $5 and drew on them with Sharpie.
Fuck
and I
yes.
was like, this is a custom 1 of 1.
Yeah.
Like all of that.
Yeah, that's what you do.
Hell yeah. Sold it for $180.
Let's go, dude. Out the gate, dude. That's great.
And then from there, it grew, and I took that money, and then I bought a domain name. And then I bought the monthly where you don't see the ugly. And then I bought a printer, and then I started ordering stickers and packaging it, and it grew and grew and grew, and slowly it just grew more.
Honestly, that's so beautiful. Holy shit.
You're an entrepreneur from the get-go.
That's what I was saying earlier. Like, that's why I say that was not just gassing you up. That's what I was saying earlier. When I was fucking 16, 17, dude, I was getting shit-faced with my friends and smoking copious amounts of weed and snowboarding. I was making videos. Like, that's what we did, is we made snowboard edits. That being said, when I was in that time, I was like, I don't know how much I want to air of that. Let's just say I was living with my sister and it was a bad situation. Right. Just all things considered. My sister is wonderful, but it was a bad situation. But anyway, so in that time, but I was a shithead. I was not like, how do we get out? Like, I was not like, there were gnarly things happening around me for sure, but I was like, definitely not like smart about it. And I was not admirable in any sense of the word. I was just like, if I can snowboard and I can make edits, I'll be happy. And then I'll save up enough money at my dishwashing job and move out. That was the thing.
I think if I was allowed to, I was never allowed to like leave my room. Like the door had to be open. Like even if I went in the backyard, it was like, what are you doing? Like,
wow.
And so I wasn't allowed to, or like at school, like, where are you? Like, what's going on? So to be like watched all the time and to have to be in my room, I was like, well, I can't like escape with my friends. I was never, ever, like, I never hung out with my friends, like, ever. Like, this is like the first time in my life where I could just like exist with people, really.
That is so wild.
So I like couldn't escape like that.
Yeah.
I'm sure if I was allowed, like if I could go to a birthday party, I think like I would be like that.
Of course, yeah. But I mean, who wouldn't?
Because I couldn't.
Yeah, dude.
I was like, the only way I can leave is if I like work really hard and like just leave.
Honestly, it's inspiring. It's wild. And yeah, that's why I like trip out, because I'm just like, the fact that like you did that. You know what I mean? The fact that you had the insight and you did it and you, I don't know, didn't like rot in depression or something like that and just like wither away. Like, powerful shit, man. Powerful shit. I was not that smart when I was a kid. I started making music and I was like, I'm gonna be a sick rapper. You know what I mean? Yeah. But yeah, like, I was not that smart.
I would have taken that $180 I made from a t-shirt and bought like an ounce of weed and said, I fucking made it, boys, and hung out with my friends and been like, shit, dude, we're living good.
I think I did. Yeah, I probably did that pretty much at a point in time.
Yeah, exactly, bro.
I started getting Social Security because my like father passed when I was really young. So when right before I turned 18, what happened was my mom's my favorite person in the world, by the way. But my mom moved out of our house and she was like, you and your sister have the house. You're pretty much 18. My sister was like 21 at the time, something like that. She's like, have the house, have your way with it. She was going through her own shit. Technically, like her and my stepdad were like getting what you would consider like a divorce. Because they never married, but they were together for like 15 years. Anyway, so it's a weird thing, but the point is my mom was like, all right, well, you're taking care of yourself now. Like I gotta do my thing. Like you can do that. And so here's the Social Security that we've been getting for you because your father passed when I was really young. And when that happened, I started getting like $800 a month, which was to me, and even still, that's not an amount of money to like, you know, laugh at. That was like that was a lot of fucking money.
That's rent.
Yeah, exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. So for me, what I did was I bought music gear. That was the first thing. I was like, I'm buying a mic. It's the same thing I'm doing with like video stuff right now, where like I'll get money and just be like, this is my new thing, you know. Like, so I bought all this music gear. I got like turntables and all this shit. And when I did that, that was my out. Like I was like, I don't know how this is gonna like work out somehow. This is like my thing, and it was like keeping me sane. You know what I mean? I definitely didn't make any money off of it at first. Like it wasn't until I was like 24 or something like that I made money off of it. But like going back to the subject of like being that age and finally seeing some money for something, I do share that where I was like, dude, I just want to buy art things. Like that was my main thing. I was like, I need to make music now, and that's what I want to do. Mac Miller at the time was like blowing up, so I was like, dude, that's gonna be me. Wasn't, obviously, but that was like, yeah, that was the thing for me. Yeah, that was like a gnarly time. But I moved to Lake Tahoe right after that, and then I got broke the fuck off snowboarding. But I snowboarded a lot. And I was poor as shit. That was also a great time about Tahoe. And I say that totally genuine. I had like $0 to my name. And I think I was making, my rent was $465. I was making my rent by, like, I had a tax return from that year. I was like, because when I was in Vermont, I like worked at this dishwashing job. I did a tax return for them that year that paid for some months. And then the other months I like DJ'd house parties. It was so ratchet. It was great.
Something about DJing house parties though, dude.
It's a real thing.
It's a vibe in a weird sort of way, man. It's like a nostalgic looking back at some of those like really like dingy situations. I don't know.
Hilarious and weird and like sus, super sus. Yeah. Really strange stuff. How much I know a bit of your backstory, but how much of it are you down to delve into?
I'm an open book, bro.
Really? Tell me about it.
All right. Where do you want me to start?
Your most interesting stuff, because you talked about how you got into music. Your most interesting stuff is what was it? College? Was it right before college?
Yeah, senior year of high school. I'm probably going into college.
That was it. Yeah.
So yeah, growing up, I started making music really early, like age 11. Always was like really impulsive though. My parents were really strict about stuff. Not like the most strict, but like compared to my friends and stuff, like if I was going to a friend's house, my mom would have to call their parents to make sure like that I was actually going to that friend's house. And I just like wanted to like go out and get in trouble and shit.
Yeah.
Like really rebellious from the start. And so I don't know, I started smoking weed really early, started taking like pills really early, like 13 or 14 and stuff. Not a ton, but just like experimenting all over the place. Would sell drugs. Like that's where I learned my hustle was like going to school, collecting, be like, I'm gonna go get an ounce of mushrooms. I'm gonna go get an ounce of weed. And my friends would all like throw in $20 to the pool. Yeah. And then I'd make like half of that for free or something. Yeah. And it was almost like fueling my want of like smoking weed, but I learned how to hustle through that. There's important lessons in there.
Selling weed is solid. That was my shit at the end of high school. Yeah.
And it was hard for me.
And just drugs in general.
It was hard for me to sell weed because it smells so much. Yeah. So I'd sell like throughout high school, man, I'd sell all sorts of drugs like Molly, shrooms, all that kind of shit. And really just lacked the self-control to like be like responsible about it. Like, like, you know, some people who sell drugs who are like businessmen.
Yeah.
And I sold drugs more from like, this is like, it was like so romanticized in my head to an extent.
Same.
Yeah.
But I only sold weed. I didn't get into the other shit.
Yeah. And I think I was forced to get into the other shit in a sense because I couldn't sell weed. If I could just sell weed, I probably would have just sold weed. But Molly is so much easier to hide at a parent's house than weed is.
Yeah.
And I was just being dumb about shit. I'd take drugs at school. Luckily, like, never really got into alcohol, but got into like a weird teenage angst depression at like 16, found opiates, and like really just started doing opiates all the time. I'd go to the grocery store, and don't try this at home because you can fucking die, and buy poppy seeds.
No way.
And you I'm not going to break it down too much.
Dude, no way.
You can literally die because the dosage is unknown. But you take poppy seeds and you take like a pound plus of them, put them in water and drink it. And it has like morphine residue in it.
No
I was just finding out all this shit on the
dude.
internet, on these fucking forums. And like, I must have been in like some kind of deep pain. I don't know where it came from. I had a pretty like, you know, no one like abused me growing up or anything.
I'm not going to disclose so much, but a similar thing that you're describing actually killed a pretty well-known producer. Yeah. I'm not going to disclose any more than that, but like off this, well, yeah.
Yeah. And so, I don't know. I just fucking got caught up in all that.
Yeah.
And then senior year of high school, like my pill connect ran out, and I found a heroin connect on Reddit. And was like through the fucking internet. I was like, it's basically the same thing. Never shot up or anything throughout my whole time doing that. But like just immediately, like, you know, justify like it's basically just oxys but stronger.
Yeah,
which is true in a sense.
Yeah,
but something about it and the people you meet and the culture you dive into is just wrecks your life so hard, bro.
Yeah,
and so I. Last half of my senior year in high school was just doing heroin all the time, and then
senior year in high school
went to rehab that summer. Like week after I graduated from high school, I wanted to go party with my friends and shit, and went to rehab instead. And like was sober a lot of the summer, still doing like dumb amounts of psychedelics and shit, just being ignorant, and then went off to college for a year. And as soon as I got to college, just started hanging out with like the wrong people. Great people, as in the sense of like, but just we're all caught up in a bad situation.
Yeah,
and like still care about those people to this day, but just all in a bad situation. And was just doing that all throughout college too. And fucking dropped out of college, dropped all my classes in college. Fucking lived in a trap house of a dorm, bro.
Dog.
Like, and then when I got out there,
like at that time you probably had the funding and you had it locked in that you were living in a dorm, but you had no classes essentially because you like dropped.
It was so dumb, bro. Yeah, and like I was, stepped up the dealing, stepped up the using, all that shit. Dropped out of college. Came.
That's just a concoction for chaos.
Yeah,
that situation, man.
Because it was when I was like, my parents were strict, so it was like when I was free for the first time, I had no one watching over me, and I just went off, bro. Dropped out of college in the sense of I failed all my classes and I wasn't going back next year, but stayed till the end of college. First year. I was coming back home. My parents were like, "You're obviously still using. You just can't live with us."
Yeah,
and like got kicked out of my house, which is like honestly in hindsight the probably best thing that could have happened. Was couch surfing. I say homeless. I wasn't living on the streets. I was spending a lot of my day on the streets with homeless people in downtown Seattle.
Damn,
under
dude.
bridges with them, like smoking dope and like fucking, and like it was it's just bad, bro. Like straight up junkie shit, you know?
Yeah.
And
there is a silver line. You were at the age, it's bad, but it's also strangely good. You're at the age where your brain is still developing, which is obviously more damaging. Yeah. But you had the window where you can still develop out of that.
Exactly.
Because because I know like shit, man, even like I know people that got into it right around the time in like their early 20s. Yeah. And when you're getting into it then, it seems like you can't unwiring your brain at that, it's really fucking hard.
Yeah. And I also just saw people twice my age who were doing it since my age. And I was like, oh, this is like the life I'm setting up for myself right now.
Yeah.
But I was couch surfing a bunch. Like always, like still had friends enough who had houses and shit, girls and all this stuff that I would like go and spend the night at their house and stuff for a few months. Eventually though, like, I don't know, dude, there wasn't like any like particular thing that triggered me getting clean. I just woke up one morning, like out of dope and fucking broke. And I was like, I'm so fucking tired of living like this. Like,
yeah.
It fucking sucks, bro. And then after
moment of clarity.
Yeah, moment of clarity, really. After that, that was the last time I used anything like that. And yeah, just like got clean, got a job at a smoke shop. Still smoking hella weed, but got a job at a smoke shop like a few weeks after that.
Kratom
actually helped. That's why.
That's what. Yeah, I bring that up because I remember that.
That's how I got through like withdrawals and all that shit. And got a job at a smoke shop and like met people in the music community right after that.
Yeah.
Like I was me and some music people in college at house parties and stuff, and I don't think they knew I was using or anything like that. We were all partying and whatnot. I kept like the opiates and stuff pretty hidden from most people.
That's like that's the part I always think about when people use is like
they don't tell everyone.
The double life there. That's the part I'm like,
it's hard, bro. It's hard for sure. And
can I hit that?
Yeah. And so like that summer though, I got clean like June 9th of 2015.
Hell yeah, you remember the day. I love that. Yeah.
For sure, man. So almost 6 years ago now. And like weeks after that, bro, serendipitous things happened where I felt like life was showing me like, look, now that you're not using this is like the beauty of life that you were missing out on. And it was like showing me what could happen.
Yeah.
So like over that summer, man, got a job, got my first apartment where I lived by myself. And like, you know, it was interesting living by myself too and only being responsible by myself. I didn't have roommates. I didn't have people in dorms. I didn't have all my fucking old friends didn't want to hang out with me anymore.
Yeah.
I just worked this job at this smoke shop and lived by myself for like months and months and months. Just stayed to myself and made music. And finally got back into making music because the whole time I was using, it like does something to your soul where you can't express yourself.
Fascinating.
So like I would open up Ableton and nothing would happen.
I remember from the times I've done opiates, which is a small handful of times. I don't care about anything.
It makes you content. It like tricks your brain to feeling content.
That's the thing. Like
you lose that drive to do anything else.
Yeah.
Whether it's better your situation, improve in life and stuff like that. And I just have a very addictive personality that like I think I've channeled very productively into art now.
Yeah.
So, like I just make art like I used to do drugs.
Yeah. And, I mean, honestly, that's beautiful. That's good.
Yeah. And it's very productive and awesome. But yeah, so got my first apartment, started meeting like some of my best friends to this day in the music scene. Played like my first few shows where like I went to my first festival I got booked at. Like all this beautiful stuff happened that summer that changed the course of my life where I was like, oh, this feels so much better than drugs.
Yeah.
You know, like,
oh, dude, playing a good set, that tops it all.
I don't know if there's a better feeling than playing a good set, bro. Like, honestly.
Yeah, tops it all.
I don't know, dude. Something about being in that moment. Yeah. And, well, so that was like a dark period in my life. But looking back, I'm so grateful that happened because it taught me so much. It taught me about what happens if I'm not like on my own ass about responsibilities, about like my impulsive nature, about my like addictive personality, all that stuff. If I put no effort into my life and just let myself run wild, I end up under a fucking bridge with homeless people smoking dope.
Yeah.
Like that's like rock bottom in a sense, you know? Yeah. And so, but that like scared me where I'm like, I can never fucking let that happen to me again.
No, you got a powerful mind, man. Like you're a gifted person, man. Like, so it has to be blindingly obvious that you can't let that happen. Like
it's such a waste of like potential that I know I have.
Yeah, straight up.
And I feel like I'm like letting the whole fucking world down if I let that happen. And so like now it like just put a fire under my ass and fueled me. Like I just every day have to be better than I was yesterday in some sense of the word. Always striving to be like the best I can, not in like egotistical sense, but in like just a like how can I love more? How can I care more? How can I make my art more impactful? How can I make a like better impact on the world?
Yeah.
And that's like I don't know what I've been trying to do these past 6 years.
That's beautiful. Honestly, I want to contribute to this conversation because this is probably my favorite podcast because the collective like sharing of stories is so fascinating. So I'll contribute it as well, but that's under. I'm gonna let you and the viewers know this shit ain't going to my mom. So this one is not gonna end up in my mom's hands or my sister's hands. But the stuff that I didn't mention before, what happened was, and I just for the sake of conversation, I'll share this. So what happened when I was like 16, 17, when my mom moved out. So her and Pete, who's my old stepfather, they split up. My mom goes to like kind of like live on her own out in Vermont. She was just like, I need to do me. And like I was saying, she was like, you and your sister can take care of yourself. Well, the thing was, I was just in high school. Like I didn't have a job at first. I was just like a shithead kid. I didn't care about much. And in my brain, I was like, I just go on living. Who cares? You know what I mean? I'm going to do the same routine. Mm-hmm. My sister is out of high school. She dropped out. She's turning 21 at this point. She goes on a bender, right? And this bender started as like, so what happened at first, it was like she's drinking, more of her friends are coming over. What happens is the house slowly turned into what I refer to as like a juggalo trap house, right? So she was like a juggalo at the time, like all these juggalos, like all these fucking people were coming through our house and partying. It was just the party house. Yeah. And what that leads to is like, she got this new boyfriend. He's kicking the shit out of her, dude. Like I was still in high school too. I was like smoking weeds with my friends. And like one of the gnarliest stories, dude, one of the gnarliest times, like she's up at my place and we're like smoking bong in my, I say my place because I had like a sectioned off like part of the house. She's up there. We're like smoking out of this bong. She comes through. She's like, oh, let me hit that. Her boyfriend comes up and he says something along the lines of like, we got to go. Grabs like a handful of her hair and fucking rips her out the door. Whoa. Like full blown, like dude, off her feet, dude. Like she fucked up. Like it was like in the thing, I was seeing that constantly. Yeah. Like that's just what I saw. Yeah, you know what I mean? And like, so all my friends, dude, like the reason that was gnarly too is not just because I saw that happen to my sister, but it was like that wall was broken in front of all my friends where they're like, what the fuck just happened? You know what I mean? But that kind of shit was happening all the time. And that dude brought in his friend and his friend was like selling hella Molly, right? And so what happened is it just turned into a trap house, like it's like a bando at that point. Mm-hmm. And I remember one time my like semi-homeless friend was like at our place and he's like, yeah, I have this friend that's coming through. And I was like, dude, I was like, why? I was like, this isn't like a fucking halfway house. And he was like, I kind of told a few friends that it was like a halfway house. And I was like, dude, what the fuck, you know? So like every night there's just screaming downstairs. And then after like that, dude, like my sister got way into like the blow side of shit even more. And that's when like her next boyfriend, they'd fight too. And like, they would be her room was right next to mine too. And they would be like fucking fighting so gnarly, dude. But the thing was like, dude, I remember like one night was really bad. I had like my girlfriend over and I just hear like glass shattering everywhere and just fucking screaming. And it was just like so gnarly, honestly. So what that did though, pertaining to that subject is like, I was going through that, like I was in that situation for like 2 years. No, oh my God. I'll tell you another story about this. Really, this is semi funny, but also really fucking dark. But we had this cat named Scribbles, right? Scribbles got fleas. It's like, all right, happens to house cats. Yep. But Scribbles got fleas in a trap house. And when that's the situation, no one gives a fuck. Yeah. And so what happened was, like, this shit's embarrassing, but what happened, and I had no money. I had no money at all. I can't take the cat to the vet. I don't know about that shit. Not my problem, because I'm 16 years old. You know what I mean? Cat gets fleas. It gets so bad. And when I say so bad, I mean like for weeks of my life. My room's right here. The bathroom's down the hallway. I wake up every morning to take a pee. I walk down the hallway. The hallway has carpet on it, right? I would every single morning, I'd take that walk, I'd get to the bathroom, and I would put my leg over the toilet, and I had to do this.
Oh.
Because it would just be hundreds of fleas that would come off of my leg that were walking on my leg from the carpet. It was gruesome, dude. Like really, and that's the whole house for like, that was like probably 2 months was like that. It was fucked. But after that like time, when I started getting those social security checks, I saved enough to move out, and my only thing in like a traumatizing sense was like, I'm getting the fuck out of here, and I hate all of this. That's why I don't do nose drugs, because I saw my sister go through all that shit, and I was like, I'm fucking never touching that shit ever. I can't do it, you know? Mm-hmm. So I like, I finally moved out, and then I moved back in, and I moved out to Tahoe for like a year, moved back in, and my sister, I came back to my childhood home completely destroyed. It was like post bando after like a fucking 2 years, you know what I mean? Mm-hmm. Came back, and I had to kick her out, which was like really sad, but it was because I got roommates to like pay for heating. In Vermont, you have to pay like $800 a month for heating. It's fucking freezing. I got roommates to pay for heating, and one of my roommates was a dealer, and she was like stealing a bunch of his like weed like in front of him, you know?
Yeah.
And I had to be like, Christina, well, you can't do that, because he like is a big supplier, and like he is not dangerous, but like if he like tells people about what's happening, like they have guns, like this is a threat, like you can't do that. And she didn't stop. And so I was like, you have to like leave, you know? So she left, which sucks. But then it was just me living in that house for a year. But after all of that, I had all this alone time in that house. Like my roommates moved out because they were like, dude, the heating's broken. This is fucked. I'm in this like freezing house alone. I have $0 to my name. I remember one time I like ate a steak that was 3 years old. It was like in the freezer. It had been in the
frozen,
yeah, exactly. And there was no food, and I was like, this has been in the freezer since I was in high school, but I got to do this, or else, you know, like I have calorie deficiency. Yeah. But yeah, so I was like broke for like a year, scary broke. Like, yeah, couldn't afford laundry detergent, like no dollars. And after all of that, like, and it was crazy because at that time I was like, I'm out, but I'm still like looking back. I'm like, dude, there was a night where it was -40 in Vermont and we had no heating. Like I'm in my house, like zero heating. That's in a wood house, like a Victorian house. It's like your windows open essentially, you know? So I'm like, a space heater was like keeping me alive pretty much. But yeah, but in my head I was like, well, this is better than like when my sister was like getting the shit kicked out of her right next to me.
Yeah.
You know? And yeah, so I got a job after like that year of living in Vermont again, and saved up I think like $1,300. And then my mom was living in Seattle, and this is the most important part about this. My mom didn't know this shit was like that.
Sure.
My mom is like an incredible mom, but she didn't know that it was like this. So it's like not a fault of her own. Even though when I was young, I like kind of like put it on her, but like it was weird. Like no one was telling her, but in my head, I was like fucking, I was like hella angry that it all happened. My childhood home was all like destroyed and shit, but yet she didn't know what was really happening, you know? So, but anyway, she lived in Vermont, she lived in Washington at this time. She had moved to Seattle after I moved to Tahoe, and I took that $1,300, moved in with her, and then when I was in Seattle, I was like, I'm doing music now. This is it. I let go of all my friends in Vermont, all that shit. I was like, this is it now. I'm in Seattle. I'm going to be a musician. And I wrote an album called Mecca that was all about how much I fucking hated that lifestyle. Like it was all about getting out. And it's called Mecca because it was like, that's what Seattle was to me. It was like the Hajj. Like I was getting, you know what I mean? So that's where that came from. But that's where I relate to you, where it was like, I hated my situation for so long, and it was so dark that I was like, I'm never going back. You know what I mean? Not to that extent, because you were like a victim of your own devices in a sense.
Yeah.
But it was like in the sense of like, that was really fucking dark. Like I gotta, you know, and that's also where I relate to you, where it's like that puts a fucking fire under your ass when you're in a situation that you like you can't live like that, you know? You just got to do anything. So I was just like, music's got to be it, like, or Seattle has to be it, you know? Yeah. And I think that's like, I think everyone who, and I'm not saying necessarily this statement involves me, but I think everyone who's done something great or do things great has had at least a similar situation, you know, something that did put a fire under their ass. Yeah.
Yeah, man. I mean, I think you have to understand or experience something that like gives context to comfortability and normality.
Yeah.
Like if you just like don't, I mean, and I don't want to make it sound like you have to go through something like that to be successful or to be happy or to like anything like that. I'm just speaking from my experience, and I guess like all of our kind of experiences where like it shows you how bad shit can be, and you just never want that to happen again.
Yeah.
And you'll do anything to keep that from happening again.
Exactly. Yeah. I think in a lot of my stuff, that's why, like, there's an EP I did on Division called Collapse. The cover art it's a guy, he's like in the water. I made it. It's like this guy in the water, and then there's just like paint smeared on his face. And that, like, so much of my art, even like still now, is like people like fighting with like desperation. There's like this like source of like, even Legacy is literally about fighting an antagonist, you know? Mm-hmm. And for me, I think a lot of that was manifesting like, it's like you have a personable protagonist and they are in a rough situation and they are putting their heart and soul into it to get out of that. Mm-hmm. That and like, even I don't even consciously do that, but like even having just told that story and I'm thinking about a lot of the pieces I've made, I'm like, yeah, I mean, that makes a lot of sense. That's like half of the motivation for this shit, you know? I think that like that has to reflect in your pieces too, because you focus on, I've noticed serenity is a very common theme in yours. Mm-hmm. And I feel like that might be a reflection of, this is just my take as like a viewer, especially knowing you, that might be like a reflection of like the ideal situation, the contrast. Mm-hmm. You're like, I can make something beautiful. Mm-hmm. Things have been very dark, but I have control over making something beautiful.
Yeah, I think you're right. Yeah. I mean, like, I don't know. I'm like a pretty big empath, and like I see a lot of pain in the world, and I've experienced pain.
Yeah.
And I don't want people to experience that pain.
Yeah.
I want, like, I don't know. I don't want other people to have to go through what I went through.
Dude, I just had with your stuff, I was just, okay, so while he was saying that, I was trying to think about your art, and I was like, how does that, I don't know, how does that relate, having heard your story now? And I think my take on that would be, you didn't have possibly, you know, it seems to me that like in a lot of the scenarios that you described, you didn't have much of a voice in the room. You didn't have much of an expression in the room. You were told, you know, to stay in your room. It's like holding someone in there, like stay in your box. And in your pieces, it's chaotic expression. You're like, dude, I can paint everything. I can paint everything I want to say. That's what it looks like to me.
Literally, yes.
Yeah, dude, that makes so much sense.
It's like all the expression was channeled into that.
Yeah.
There was no room for expression anywhere else.
Yeah. Yeah, especially when I got into digital and I didn't have to ask to buy paint or to buy that.
Yeah.
And I had endless materials. And because I couldn't close my door with paintings, my family could see what I'm painting. And they'd be like, oh, why are you drawing someone sad? Oh, are you sad? Oh, and then like, oh, you want something to cry about? So stuff like that.
Oh, man.
And so when I had something digital and I can hide it.
Yeah.
And I could just do all of the colors. I was like, I need this, because otherwise, like, I don't want to be here.
Yeah.
So, yeah, it was like my escape in every way.
This has got to be my favorite episode. That's so sick. That's so fascinating.
Yeah, I think pain does produce the best art.
Yeah, man. I was thinking about bullet points, man. Like, I think like, cause this plan has been, y'all were coming like, I think like 10 days ago or something, you made the plan to come down here. And so I was thinking about bullet points.
Maybe less than that, honestly.
Yeah. And I was thinking about the subject of art. I like dark stuff. You know what I mean? Like, I like inherently like negative stuff. And that kind of makes me like, in a weird way, that kind of makes me like your stuff even more. Cause I'm like, now I get where that's coming from. Cause I'm not saying your stuff is like in this middle of like, it can be dark and can be light. It's just like visually just everything, you know? And so I lean into like more like art that's influenced by negative things, you know?
What I like about my art, I think a lot of people look at my art and they're like, oh, bright colors. Looks like a children's book. It's beautiful.
Yeah.
But if you really look at my art, it's like so sad. And it reminds me of my childhood because I would go to school. I had like the best grades at school. I was the honor student, all of this. And I would get all the awards. But like nobody knew that when I went home, like I would get hit or like all this, I dealt with all this stuff.
Yeah.
And so in that, I'm like, to me, like that's what my art. It's like this smiling, like, ooh, but then you like read it and you're like, oh,
yeah.
This is sad.
That's like the beauty piece. That's like that one.
Yeah.
Because that was the first one of a lot of your pieces I just looked at and just admired, and I'm like, this is fire. You know what I mean? This is awesome. But the beauty piece, I watched a video on it and I was like, I want to know like what's the deal behind this? And now I see that. I see that. It is. It's like that. It's the like kind of miserable like overpressure of like, you know, like superficial like beauty and whatnot. I really like that.
Thank you.
I feel like I've gotten to know you better through this conversation.
Yeah.
It's very exciting.
Like I got to know Olio a little bit better.
Yeah, when this started, I was like, I don't know where this is going.
Cover a lot of ground, bro.
That's what I love about this shit. That's what I love about this shit. That's why I did this shit. Yeah. It ain't even about like fucking content, this and that. I could give a fuck about content, to be honest. It's because like I always invited people over through to my studio. And like, I mean, like, yeah, like perfect example. I always invited people over just to kick it. And every single time it was like, this is sick. You know what I mean? Like I
just have cool conversations.
Exactly.
Hours,
Exactly. For real. And that's why I wanted to do this. Cause every single time I'm like, dude, that was just awesome. You know, like I want to like record that somehow or something, document that somehow. Yeah. This has been a fucking blast.
It's been really fun, man.
Yeah. I think this is a perfect time to cap it. Cause that was perfect. Hell yeah.
Honestly, yeah.
Bet.
Hell yeah. Give some shout outs. Shout out Gary V, maybe. I didn't even talk to y'all about that. I'm also fascinated about that. But yeah. Yeah. Any shout
outs, Connor. You're really awesome.
Dude, thank you. I appreciate that.
For real though. Like,
likewise.
I was looking at your art and it blew me away.
Dude, thank you. That means the world. Honestly.
Yeah. I'm really glad that like you hit me up and you're like, come to LA and do a podcast, and that because I'm still so impulsive sometimes, I was like, fuck yeah. And then I was like, yo, you want to go to LA with me next week?
And I was like, I was never allowed to leave my house when I was little, so yes.
Yeah. Fuck yeah. I love that.
I shouldn't even say impulsive. It's just spontaneity.
Yeah.
It's spontaneous. It's not like a bad impulse. I think impulsive has a negative connotation to it.
Spontaneous.
Spontaneous. It's just like, man, we're blessed that like we even have the option to just be like, let's go to LA and kick it with Connor, and like,
hell yeah,
you know, that we're not locked to like a 9 to 5 right now, and that we can just like come down here and experience. I love California so much, and all the times before I was coming to California, I was always broke as fuck, touring, playing music, with like $100 in my wallet and nothing in my bank account.
Yeah.
So it's cool coming down here, and yeah, it's been fun, man.
Hell yeah.
I'm sad to go home tomorrow, honestly, but gotta get back to the grind.
I'll come up there, visit. Yeah. We're gonna go to Shiro's.
Yes, sir.
Hell yeah. Yeah. Any plugs? Any new things?
No.
You just will have new things though. I don't even think
things you just can't talk about.
Yeah,
there's one really big new thing.
I'm so excited.
Can't say it.
I get it.
It will probably happen by the time this podcast.
Oh, definitely, yeah.
But
but even still don't. Yeah. Yeah.
It's
definitely.
It's big though.
Word, hell yeah. All right, with that being said, I hope you guys enjoyed the listen. You can find Fewocious at fewocious.com. I think it's literally everything /Fewocious, right? That's FEWOCIOUS.
Yeah.
And that is, and my boy Parrott, that is Parrottism, Parrott_ism, and that's PAROTT_ISM.
At It's Parrott on Twitter.
At It's Parrott on Twitter. Do you have a website yet?
Nope.
Woo!
Doesn't need one, honestly.
Buy all your domain names.
And that's these guys, because of the subject matter today, you can find these guys on Super Rare, Nifty Gateway. You're fucking everywhere, dude. You're Maker's Place Foundation, probably. I didn't even ask you about that. Bitski,
Yeah.
Zora.
Not yet.
Okay, not yet, Zora.
I'm trying to like not spread myself too thin with all these cool marketplaces. They all offer something a little bit different, and I'm just so excited about NFTs. I'm like, this is cool. This is cool. This is different. And but at the same time, I'm like, I can't spread myself too thin. So like most of my shit is on Super Rare.
Super Rare.
Some of my shit.
Is this podcast?
3 hours.
It is 2.5.
Okay.
Oh, it's not bad.
That's actually perfect time pocket. And then you can find me on Super Rare and Maker's Place.
Yo.
Hell yeah. All right, thank you guys. We are out.